Yes. Yes. It's the Tim McKernan Show podcast. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you. We did not do one from Jupetown last week. Am I correct?
It would have been too difficult, I think. I didn't have any equipment with me to do a remote QFTA, so...
Well, we've had weeks where we've done multiples.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like multiples?
When we had a friend of the show, STL Starter Packs, that was one podcast.
There was a multiple.
And we did QFTA that
Our
week.
sponsor's on QFTA, Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies. He's a wonderful person. He's guided me through life decisions. He's online at evergreenstl.com, 314-889-0503. Seth Goldcamp and Design Air Heating and Cooling, designairservice.com. They perform. I forgot about this, but while we were in Jupiter, they came by and did a maintenance service. I think that'd be good. Thank you. On our house HVAC system. And then James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, 314-961-4800 to go online at carltoninsurance.net. He's my insurance agent. And come on in. The water's warm. If you can, for those of you listening via podcast, you can watch it on YouTube at youtube.com/TMASTL and experience the magic of QFTA. We have a fan page on Facebook. It's the TMA fan page. Jackson, you do a wonderful job. I was about to go in and say how many people we have. 365, one for every day of the year, member requests. And then I gotta be honest with you here. There's a girl requesting to join the page at the very top. I think she's real.
Hold on, let me go in there.
There are 4 questions. Now, when I browse through people wanting to join the TMA fan page on Facebook, if they've answered the questions, I let them in. Mm-hmm. If the answers make sense. Now, sometimes the bots just like type characters, sometimes from other lands. In this case, do you see what I'm talking about? Initials JM?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, you're skeptical. What do you think, a nesting body or a Trojan horse?
I think just by nature, I'm curious.
Joined Facebook 2 years ago. Is that a tell for you?
One of the answers, what part of TMA do you like the least? NBA highlights, which of course is a staple of our show. We talk about nonstop.
I agree with you.
That's not going to help you get in.
Because they're going after you.
That's right. But they said that what they like the most is the banter, and I respect that.
So are you going to let her in?
I don't see any reason why not. JM. All right, let's do it.
Oh, my God, she's in.
Welcome.
Just like that. Welcome. Now that I'm going to her real page.
Was I premature on the trigger there?
I think she's real. I think she's real. It's not an all-in, but I think she's real. I think she might be one you keep an eye on.
Yeah, like a probationary period.
I think it'll be. I think it could be live. That it could be a situation, but nonetheless. Let's see. Diddles the Piddles. Finally, a yes. They really love the yes.
It's a staple.
Yes. Neil Plantazer. Am I pronouncing that right, Jackson?
I'm gonna say Montplaisir.
I love that. Says, let's go. Self-made stay-at-home Ladue mom. Not in there, but Diddles the Piddles asking about the self-made stay-at-home Ladue mom. I posted on the TMA fan page that we're going to be doing this.
It's Bonnie Blue, right?
That's Bonnie Blue.
Yeah. She's in the headlines because of her volume.
Well, she slept with 1,000 people in a day, and that, of course, is noteworthy, and we, on this podcast, doff our caps.
Who among us?
Amen. And we don't kink shame.
No.
But then it was discovered that she's pregnant.
Oh, God.
And
so if it's a lottery system to find out the papa, that's tough. I would assume that everyone would be tagged and bagged before doing that.
I've done a limited number of gangbangs.
Right. Finite amount.
Right. Less than 20.
Sure, but more than 10.
And at most of them, they would want me to wear a condom. But the ones I really liked were the ones where I could just go in.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I don't know what her prerequisites were.
Yeah, that would be. It's a It's going to be an interesting paternity test, but I wish her and the child.
Yeah, hopefully we can carry that live on TMA.
Nothing but the best. We don't kink shame around here.
MD 2020, Cole Aston says, I cannot support the ski cap indoors, Jackson. I believe that's in reference
I have no
to...
choice. Like, if I took this off...
Let me see what's doing.
It's just brutal.
I mean, I'm wearing the readers.
I look ridiculous.
Boy, I like that lid.
I appreciate it, but...
I'm trying to think who it looks like. Who's that guy that Iggy's attracted to from The Cure?
Robert Smith?
Yeah, that's who you look like,
Smith?
with the blonde version. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
I bet the ladies would love that if you keep that going.
Like a rooster. Look at this. They got
There's a character in the WWF, not WWE, Red Rooster. Never kind of understood that. He painted his mullet red, and then he would act like a rooster. I always thought Vince McMahon missed on that. And I say that with all due respect.
Well, it's a numbers game, I assume, with that whole song and dance. I have really no choice. When I put on a ski cap, it has to stay on until I shower.
Cole Aston says, okay, actually put it back on.
See? All right, precisely.
This is what I needed to be doing on this cold day with the kids home, doing an AMI day. And what did we find out that meant?
Alternative
method of instruction?
Bingo.
My wife texted me a picture of the Dumb Shit Brothers. Here's what's going on. I want to make sure this is off camera.
Sure.
One of the fucking people with voodoo dolls of me.
Yeah,
Jackson's covering up the camera. Look, that's what's going on back at home.
That's outstanding.
She goes, Mommy, guess you're going to stay there and work. I said, tight reads, sister.
Yeah. Well, you have to do the podcast. That's how you explain it. I have no choice. Jackson demanded we do QFTA.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
This comes from our spring training cover. This is a question for Jackson. But you know what? Today I'm turning the tables. When I put my readers on, you never know what the fuck I'm going to do.
Sure.
It's either do a key bump or put readers on.
Yep.
So, we were posting videos from spring training last week. Me, you, Doug, and Martin were all down there. Chairman Kurt back here doing a wonderful job, considering he's really not a board operator. Yeah. Guy's sick as fuck.
Yeah.
And he was with me yesterday for an important sound story meeting, I guess, for lack of a better term. God bless him. But back home today. There's a good chance Chairman Kurt is in there, and he did a wonderful job. Mike Ryder, our executive producer, did a wonderful job. And I think when people hear me say these kinds of things, you think you're just kind of like saying things kissing ass. But for real, so much went into that going as well as it did. Jackson deserves a hell of a lot of credit. For real. Doty, who drove down here, who is the official title would be engineer.
Yeah.
And then, like 2 weeks out, they weren't even sure that we were going to do it. So I am super grateful for John Kiowski, who came into the studio today. I guess we hadn't seen him since, you saw him yesterday, but I didn't. It was in the 10 o'clock hour. Martin was already gone. He goes, he was just raving about last week, so pleased with it. And then Doug, which was, I respect the ask, said, maybe we should do the show down there for 3 months. And then John said, I'll think about that, Dan, and walked out. So I kind of let Doug know where he stood with that. And Tommy Maddern and Keith Krause, our director of sales, and Tommy Maddern heads up operations here. So that all of that to make that happen. So now they know what TMA at spring training is, because that's the first time we've done it since being at Hubbard. And then that allows them to budget for it in 2026. The Cardinals were very pleased with it. And then I think that increases the probability of us returning, and maybe you would have your own place next year, even though you love standing in Martin's filth in the shower. Is that what you said you like? Because that's one of your kinks, and we're not going to kink shame. You can say what you want about it, but that's not.
I really did like the Airbnb, and shout out to Jesse Kiowski as well for booking that short notice. She really
had
nice.
Nothing to do with the fact that you were standing in Martin's filth. And Doug was skeptical that he actually should be. Thought there was an adjustment you could make in your shower, but Doug had his own shower, and I think that's in his contract.
Yes, we gave Doug the room with the private bathroom, and I felt that was right. It was less so standing in Martin's filth than standing in my own filth. Either way, not optimal. So safe to say I was very excited to get into my own shower when I returned. But really, I did really enjoy the Airbnb aspect, because you got the little living room to hang out, watch the Super Bowl, watch Missouri, a little backyard area where I would read every night.
That's what they said. Martin and Doug were fascinated by how much you read.
I love, especially on vacation.
And you were reading Nancy Drew or the Hardy Boys?
The first one was like a mystery thriller, which an author I really like, but didn't really love this, her newest book. And then Will Leach's book, which I'm still working on right now.
Will Leach of Deadspin.
Yeah, MLB.com. Yep, he's wrote a novel, and it's so far really enjoying it.
You're a fiction guy. I'm a nonfiction guy.
Yeah, all fiction for me. I would read nonfiction. The last
I have
nonfiction.
zero interest in fiction. I wonder what that's about.
I just
a
love the
psychological study on why, because our personalities are obviously different. So I'd be curious why that is.
I love a story, and I really want to get a book before it gets adapted into a movie, like before it's announced it's adapted into a movie, and then like I want to go into it knowing that because I so rarely have that. But I do love fiction, but I like the aspect of having a little backyard area, having a little
hot tub. Did you ever get in the hot tub with any of the other boys on the show?
No, I was the only one to get in the hot tub. I don't know why. You have a hot tub there, get in there.
Yeah,
which I really enjoyed, especially again because I was ankle deep in my own filth for the shower situation. So getting in a warm body of water just felt good. But I do like
man. It's hot, bro.
Generally, I prefer an Airbnb to a hotel.
I do when I'm with my family,
Right?
but with friends / coworkers.
Sure.
Doug makes it clear that it's coworkers, and my wife joining me on the trip.
It made sense.
And I'd like to make my perhaps biggest thank you, and there's actually a chance they listen to this, to my in-laws who watched our 7-year-old and 3-year-old for 6 nights.
Yeah.
Holy fuck!
Yeah.
I don't even do that. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
You know, and I say this as a special. They're not like in their 50s, you know.
Sure.
So that's
Yeah. I've met them and they're wonderful people.
They are wonderful people. They truly are wonderful people.
Yeah.
So much so that they actually listen to this, and I've been with their daughter for Jackson Hella 17 years.
17 Hall of Fame years.
17 years of loving.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's actually what I was going to talk about, because I was scrolling through pictures to post on the TMA fan page when we do this little song and dance that is QFTA, the Tim McKernan Show podcast. And we had something, and in a way, I kind of, once again, there's a lot of cap doffing on today's podcast.
Like Skeens on the mound.
Yeah. I don't know if that reference will ever
Oh, well, when he comes back, I mean, he'll certainly pitch here at some
tire me
point.
out when the guy was tipping his cap in the crowd.
Almost got
up
tennis
by
elbow
the
from
camera. Well, a Cardinal fan aggressively tipping his cap. I mean, again, not just like a tipping of the cap, but just like over and over.
Yeah. Wasn't like the kid in the Derek Jeter meme where it's a real soft cap tip, which is the best cap tip I've ever seen. It's a real aggressive.
I mean, really, he really wanted it.
Yeah.
The fuck is it? I went through it. One of the pictures I put up was you at the Preserve at Iron Horse, which is where we played on Thursday. Me, you, and Doug.
I have a couple good pictures from that.
And then I probably ought to send these to you because these are on my phone. And then another one is some of the spring training shit, and then one's Bonnie Blue. But I posted a couple videos, kind of going against what I think would probably be obvious practices to the audience, but maybe not, because again, I understand that our life experience doing this show, and even though it's St. Louis and it's, you know, whatever, we have a, if you lined up 1,000 people, how many people would recognize us in public? I'll make it easy, 100. That way we just have a percent.
100 St. Louisans?
Yeah.
1 or 2?
Yeah. So whatever list celebrity that is, I'd put it in an F list.
Yeah, F, H maybe.
H, you think?
Yeah. But a solid H, like a hard H.
But then out of, as Franco Pinion would say, out of that those 1 or 2 people, there's a good chance they'd be really into it.
It's an astute observation.
It was a great observation when he was a guest on the podcast. So I just keep, for the most part, my family away from social media posts. And then we go, the other picture, that's how I got on the story, was of when I went to dinner, my wife and I went to dinner with Mike Claiborne and Katie Woo.
Woo, Katie.
I knew you wanted to do it, and that's why I let it breathe.
No, someone had to do it.
And I had never met Katie Woo before then.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Had you?
Yes. At opening day a year or 2 ago.
I just, when I say I don't leave the basement, I mean it.
Yeah, that's true. That's the truth.
So Claiborne's like, he texts me, this was last Monday night, And he texted me leftovers, question marks. I told him at the ballpark that was probably going to go to leftovers for dinner, which, by the way, for those of you who are going to go to spring training, that gets an official recommendation. Jackson, Martin, and Doug went to a place called Food Shack. They are owned by the same people. It is the same delicious treats.
Yeah, my parents will go there
in
tonight.
Food Shack. God bless America. So so Claiborne, he was having a wonderful time at the dinner. But he beforehand, he texted me leftovers, question mark, and I said, hey, I thought there was a chance all the boys would go, but now it's just going to be me and my wife. I said, you're welcome to join us, but, it's just going to be me and my wife. I don't give a fuck one way or the other.
Sure.
I've had a lot of MFs, a lot of MFs. I had one 2 nights ago, actually. and so I'm like, hey, I figured he'd go, okay.
Sure.
He goes, you know what? I'm supposed to catch up with Katie Wu, so I'll join you. I'm like, oh,
right.
God bless America.
Very nice.
So we had never met, me being a huge star. She's obviously
well aware.
Yeah, you said it, not me. But I had been like, I kind of feel like she's BK and Ferrario's guest.
Yeah.
And so while I'd like to have her on, we don't like to stir the pot on the guest thing because we really kind of don't care on guests.
Bingo.
But I'll say this, ever since Martin's joined the show, we've gotten some big-time guests, and they've kind of become friends of the show. Absolutely. Doug Armstrong today on like a short notice text, and then Josh Schertz. I don't know how that came to fruition today, but he was on.
Yeah.
And he was held accountable for the losing streak without question. And I got to tell you, I got something out of that when I asked him about Patino. Yeah. It sounds like he's interested in the Big East.
How can you not be?
Yeah, good for him. But I kind of thought he'd go, that's Chris's department. And hey, I get it. But you got to put pucks on net. And I'm like, all right, Doug and Martin aren't asking about it. I'll ask about it, and I'll get slapped down. I don't fucking care. None of the three of us care at this point. We've all been slapped around by people when we ask questions. But anyway, Claiborne's having a nice evening. Now I have a beer, but I got to get up at 5.
Right.
And I was sick, as you may recall. So I really didn't want to. And I was like, man, I don't want to go, but we only have a handful of nights here. And as parents know, when you have, number one, any night, you can be in St. Louis or wherever it is that you reside. You want to capitalize on it when somebody's watching your kids. But when you have 6 nights, and that's the place that my wife and I love so much, that area, it's like I can't sit in the fucking hotel room. Right. So I'm going to go. And, so I'm having a drink. Claibs he's enjoying wine. I think my wife had a couple glasses of wine, whatever. Neither here nor there. But then Claibs, who's feeling it and enjoying himself, goes, I'm going to get a carrot cake. And I'm like, God bless. He's talking with the waitress. And Anna Marie and Katie are sitting there bullshitting, doing their thing. And so he orders a carrot cake, and he goes, get this on video. So both me and Anna Marie on the other side of the table are shooting video of me eating the carrot cake. And my wife goes, I'm going to post this on the fan page. I go, I go,
Yeah.
I said, I am comfortable, sadly, but I am comfortable with reading awful things about myself. It comes with the territory. You heard John Mazalak and Ali Marmol saying, we're real popular on Twitter when they were with us. It comes with the territory. But it gets into a different area if you bring the family in. I kind of live by La Cosa Nostra rules.
Right.
Like picture, even though you're not a married man yet, I know you're going to get engaged this year. But if you saw somebody ripping your...
Yeah. It's like, it's out of bounds.
So the next night we go, she posts on the fan page, and to my surprise, there was nothing.
Oh, good. Good. Hey, good on another cap tip to the fan pin.
Stick tap?
Stick taps, yeah.
Do you know what a stick tap is?
Yeah, it's where you take your stick and you put it on the other side of the board and you start tapping.
That's the way you were doing it. I was like, oh my God, he is going to say something wrong and we're going to use this on 101 tomorrow. But no, that's correct. Or when you're actually on the ice.
Yeah, right.
There you go. Okay.
It's a way to clap.
Yes, indeed.
Because you probably can't clap too
So you're
well
giving a stick tap to the TMA fan page. Why don't you let somebody else in?
Oh, yeah.
Now that we have the attractive girl from Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Who says they like? There was someone in there who said they love Jackson. Let's go with that.
That person gets in. So that's how you know if you're a burner.
Well,
that's how you can.
I'm just picking a random out of the 365. I'm going to try to boost my own tires. BZ, welcome.
So then the next night, me, you, Martin, Doug, and Martin's photographer from the Two Fox go to Taco Tuesday, Rocco's Tacos. Another recommendation. You want to hear where I went to eat while we were down there? Fine, I'll tell you, because these are obviously only had a handful of nights. First night, brass ring. You boys experienced it.
Outstanding.
Titties wings. I mean, what the fuck's in those wings?
Second best
sauce.
Second best buffalo wings I've ever had.
Where's the first, baby?
Buffalo Joe's in Evanston, Illinois.
Oh, I don't know anything about it. I wonder what the spice or what do you think it is?
If I had to guess, similar to Cyberg's, probably a little mustard in the buffalo sauce.
But it's
maybe?
definitely different than Cyberg's. And I'll hit Helen Fitzgerald's to pick up wings and crinkle cuts for that matter.
It's a little
brass ring at crinkle cuts.
Yeah.
Titties.
It's a little more traditional buffalo than the Cyberg's, but it's buttery. It's probably a lot of butter.
Yeah, that's what I said to my wife. We were up there for the first half of the Super Bowl before we went over to your guys' place. So brass ring on Sunday night, Super Bowl Sunday. Monday, leftovers with Claiborne and Katie Wu. Tuesday night, Taco Tuesday with you boys.
Great dinner.
Wednesday, hog snappers. Just phenomenal food. Mm-hmm. The crab cake there is, I don't know what the deal. I mean, crab cakes are usually kind of ABC poker, and I don't know what's going on. Thursday night was my wife's birthday, and we went to a place called Restoration Rooftop in downtown West Palm.
Question on that?
I'm taking questions.
Because I looked into that.
Did you really? To go with...
No. I just was curious about it. And curiosity is one of my key characteristics.
Sure, yeah.
Is that on top of a restoration hardware store?
So somehow, I think my buddy Matty Moe, you know Matty Moe.
Yes, I do.
Great ball striker. Wide delta. He can go out and shoot 500 and go out and shoot 15 over. You don't know it, Matty Moe.
Real funny guy, too.
Great people. So he was down there, and I don't know what the situation was with the lass, but he said, let's all get together and get dinner. This was like 5-6 years ago. I don't know. And I said, God bless, sure. And I go, where are we going? And he goes, Restoration Rooftop. I go, is that Restoration Hardware? Like we're like 90-year-old women going to Sticksbury and Fuller for the garden room lunch? What the fuck are we doing here?
Hot dogs at Home Depot.
I said, there's a billion restaurants up in Jupiter. Don't have to drive 20 minutes unless we're planning on going to Rachel's afterwards. I have no need to go to West Palm. And so we go, and yes, I still don't understand the whole situation, but there is indeed on the first floor Restoration Hardware, and then 4 floors up, so you have an incredible view.
Sure.
Is this restaurant, and it was my wife's birthday, and I had like 2 glasses of wine, so it's not like I was fucked up. And I'm like, oh, that's a great picture. I'll post it, and then I go, But here's what happened.
Yeah, okay.
Tuesday night, we go to Rocco's Tacos.
Indeed.
And what is it? Oh, I'd always told Doug about the tableside guac. Mm-hmm. And so here it is. I got Doug with me at Rocco's Tacos, and we got a guy, not very amicable at all, by the way. No. I think this video's on TMA's page. Yep. It is? Okay.
On Instagram.
And I get everybody in the video, including Martin's Lensman Jake, and around the table. And I'm like, okay, it was safe on the TMA fan page last night.
Right.
So now I'm like, all right, I'll shoot some videos because people like to see the behind-the-scenes shit.
Right.
So here I am, social media boy.
That's right.
I'm going to, fuck it. I'll be social media boy. Yeah. You people want me, I'll give you more of me. Yeah. That's what I say.
Escaping your gift depot.
That's right.
Shroud.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I wake up the next morning. I got a Z-Pack. God bless my doctor for prescribing it and let me picking it up down there because that saved me. The show, I'm sure, would have been fine, but I was a fucking mess. And I'm feeling better, and I would go downstairs because we stayed at a hotel because I get better treatment because I'm the star. and I'm having my coffee before heading over to the ballpark. And I'm like, sometimes if I post something on social media, I wake up and I'm like, oh boy, I'm going to have a bunch of fucking hillbillies.
Right.
That doesn't even cross my mind. Doesn't even cross my mind. For a day, for 24 hours, I had social media bliss. And it's probably on the TMA account, which I'm usually not on. I think that's where I posted it anyway.
Yes.
So I'm just looking for Ella Reese, and she's not doing anything.
Right. Walking
on that mountain that she hikes every day. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, the TMA account. Let's see what Chairman Carter Jackson's posted. I'm like, oh, yeah, here we are at Taco Tuesday. It's 5:30 in the morning, East Coast time. And it's our video, and people are like, oh, more vlogs. This is great. And then there's some guy who uses his real name, and that's why I doff my cap. Did you see it? Do you know where I'm going with this? You do!
Mm-hmm, I saw it.
And I think he owns a business.
Oh, that's bold. Bold. Maybe he forgot to switch.
Okay, let's make sure. What did he say?
Way to show off your trophy wife, Tim.
I think he said, of course, Tim has to have his trophy wife sitting next to me, or sitting next to him. And I'm like, well, where else the fuck would she be sitting, number one? But I'm like, this broad, and I say that with
respectfully.
Yeah, I wasn't making shit in 2007 or 8 when we met. You know, I mean, there were no trophies.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there really are now. I'm in this. You know,
Life is a trophy.
Thank you. Life is a trophy, and I am certainly the prize.
That's the title of the podcast. Life is a trophy, and Tim is the prize.
And I'm like, I mean, part of me's like, I got to go take this motherfucker out.
Yeah, something has to be done.
You know?
Coco.
I won't be doing it. You'll never know who does it. And it might not even happen in the next 365 days.
That's the fucked up part about it.
Well, that's how.
Right.
But he's done. He doesn't even know he's done.
Yeah, he's fucked.
But then I thought to myself, and this is how fucked up I am, I used his real name. I tipped my cap.
It is. It's so bold, it's like respectable.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he's dealing with something.
No doubt.
But at the same time, he used his real name.
Yeah.
And I have to say, you know, I mean, if somebody thinks like I just married my wife in the last couple of years, and hey, I will be the first one to acknowledge, I think I might be more aware of it than anybody, the gap in the appearance factor. And it isn't like I outkick my coverage and I'm just sitting there jerking you off while I'm banging some waitress on the side.
Sure.
No, I know the situation. I'm aware of it. But I do feel like it's important to point out that, you know, while I'm incredibly wealthy now, I'm actually shocked by it.
Yeah.
I can't believe it when I see my tax returns.
Yeah, you just open it and your eyebrows almost melt off.
Right. She was with me when I think we were at 1380. You know, and Inside STL didn't own shit.
Yeah.
We had the
Sex
Girl Next
shop
Door
later.
contest. I mean, don't get me wrong, those were hot. But and I'm like, oh my God, like people have to like come up with shit to come after me for. And now we're gonna go after my wife.
So odd.
And the guy's gonna use his real name.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, what the? I'm thinking to myself, what? So, thoughts, concerns?
Listen,
I didn't know you had seen it.
I did.
Because I saw it, it was like 5 a.m.
yeah, I just, for whatever reason, I went to the comments section, which is something I don't often do, but for whatever reason, I did that day. And, because it's a funny video, because the guy's making the table side
And just nodded.
right over Doug's shoulder.
And then the guy with the waiter goes, I don't know if the audio picked it up. This is outstanding. We'll get back to this gentleman. But the waiter goes, is anybody allergic to anything? And Martin says, Doug's allergic to fun.
Yeah, because he was probably fresh off of a lecture. Oh, my God.
Doug does like to school people about what to eat.
It's true. Very true. Mo Green, when he laid down to get that, rub down, probably thought, I'm just going to get this massage and go back to work. Little did he know, he got one right in the eyeball.
Right.
So that's what I'd say.
It is kind of the way that, so, yeah, I was, for real, what an odd, I think it's early in the morning. I had been taking NyQuil like a motherfucker down there, to the point that I'm like, it had been 10 days, but the one day I didn't was the Sunday into Monday. So after leaving your guys' place for the Super Bowl, I go back and I'm like, I think I'm better. And then I woke up at like 1:30 or 2:30 Eastern time, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I can't miss the show. I'm coughing nonstop. And I'm like, and I know how it can be with the show, that if I'm off, it can have a domino effect. Not because Martin and Doug aren't talented. It's got nothing to do with that. I'm just kind of like the one driving it.
Right.
And then if it's slow, the show kind of usually moves fast. And then I'm like, fuck. And I think that show was kind of shitty, for sure. Wednesday, Thursday, one of the first 2 days of the show, I thought. And I think we kind of know when they're good and when they're not. And I'm like, that's on me. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm taking NyQuil the rest of the time here. So anyway, I got the NyQuil hangover, got the Z-Pack shit, the normal pills I cut up and snort.
Right.
And I'm just down there, and I'm having my coffee, as I oftentimes say, my favorite time of the day. I'm just like, I'm like, I don't know how to say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy is using his real name.
It's
and then
really
I'm like,
bold.
I gotta say, if somebody wants to say she's a trophy wife and use their real name, be my guest.
Yeah.
You'd be, horrified by what I was making in 2008 when we met. But hey, whatever.
Right.
I guess she was betting on the long run. I'll stick it out for 2 decades with this jack off.
Yeah, well, she probably saw the girl next door contest and said, "This guy's got it.
This guy's got it."
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
But I also, the other side of it is that I'm so flattered that I bother people so much that they will be so oblivious as to use their real names when attacking members of my family.
Right.
And in a way, I kind of use that as a feather in my cap.
It is. It is a nice little feather.
Yeah, that it's like they think the gap is so great between them. Again, a guy who owns a business in St. Charles County, of course, so it counts. But then to use his real name, I'm like, wow. So I decided I'll just let this rest.
Right. But noted. Just no.
Well, it's noted, but I'm not going to say his name or anything like that.
No.
But I have to say, bold.
Extremely
Now,
bold.
it was posted around like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
or midnight, somewhere in there.
Almost goes without saying.
But it was a Tuesday night.
Yeah. Well, people get after it. That Rocco's Tacos dinner was great. That was really fun.
Are you a fan? That's your first time eating there, right?
Oh, yeah. Tacos, I think I'm ready to say it. Tacos are my favorite food.
And Anna Marie made the observation that Jackson really does have ADD.
Oh,
because there was, what was it? We were talking about
something. I can't remember what.
Well, I know Wayne Huizenga. Oh, we were talking about Cardinal broadcasters before John Rooney. And it's like, Wayne Hagen, who followed Joel Myers, because we always knew, belch up that load, Bill. Belch up that load all over your chest.
And I have ADD.
that whoever followed Jack Buck was fucked.
Yeah. Right.
It's just one of those things. Mm-hmm. It's been compared to whoever follows me. I mean,
that person will rue the day.
Amen. And it was poor Joel Myers, and sure enough, he lasted a year.
Oh, geez.
And then Wayne Hagen came in, and I will share this now. Both have passed. I don't think either one would care. Or no, Wayne Hagen's still with us. I apologize. Wayne Huizenga, who you thought we were talking about, is passed.
Yes.
Then I won't share it. But we were talking about that, and then you go, the Blockbuster guy?
Yeah.
And we're like, Jackson's emerged from a couple boat drinks to engage in the conversation. And I go, the Blockbuster guy? What are you talking about? And I'm like, Wayne Hagen. And I go, you're talking about Wayne Huizenga.
Yeah.
And then Wayne Huizenga made money in something before Blockbuster.
Yeah.
It might have been in Waste.
Yeah, I think it was
in South Florida.
Yes.
And Doug knew of him anyway because he worked
Yes.
in Miami television.
Yeah. He's the one who turned down when Netflix was like, will you buy us for I don't want to say a wrong number, but it was like something stupid low. And then like 5 years later, Netflix could have bought Blockbuster 5 times over.
Yes.
Brutal. Bad beat.
Ooh, those.
Yeah, that's a bad beat.
Those hurt.
Yeah.
It's like when I tried to buy that one fan page.
And what a failure. You still think about that day.
No, I don't think it's me thinking about it. Sure. But either way, you do. But I knew that already from doing a show with you, in particular Balloon Party, because I'd look over and I'm like, he's not paying attention. I'm not going to take it personally. That's just the way it is. And I will know not to distribute the ball to him right now because he's not going to know what I'm talking about.
That's why you're good at driving the bus.
Yeah,
there are times
that's but for Martin, Doug, and my wife, and I can't speak to Lensman Jake.
Yeah.
But for them to actually see it play out.
Yeah. Lensman Jake probably suffered. I can imagine we're similar spirits. There's also a moment where like we were in the middle of some conversation. I just looked down and go, "Man, this is a nice tabletop." Because I really
did happen.
Yeah, and
that was actually more alarming because if you don't know who Wayne Hagen is, and we are in South Florida where Wayne Huizenga made his bones, then maybe, but the out of nowhere. This is a really nice tabletop, and I'm going, this fucking guy's out of control. And I do wonder about you and boat drinks. What were you drinking? Margarita?
Margarita, and then I had a Corona.
Look at you.
Yeah.
A margarita and a Corona, and this guy.
That was loose. It's really, I don't mean this to be any shade toward any of the guests on TMA or Balloon Party of days gone by. It's not anyone's fault. There are times where we'll have an interview, and, I'm not asking questions or anything. The whole interview goes by, I cannot tell you one single solitary thing that the guest said.
How about that?
Not one single thing.
God, That's amazing.
Like it's in my ear the whole time. No idea what they said.
There's a part of me that envies your ability to escape, even though it's not an intentional escape.
I am a Olympic class daydreamer.
Wow.
It's outstanding.
Are you thinking of like lesbianism?
No. A lot of hoops thoughts.
Is that right?
Making list of
Shea
movies.
Gilgeous-Alexander, that's
Yeah.
big because he was on your Netflix account at the Airbnb.
Yes. That full Netflix, no ads. It was a full Netflix account and had ESPN Plus so we could watch SLU.
Strong.
It was great.
Fight.
Shout out to
Billikens
Shea.
beat George Mason.
They did not.
I know.
Real rough overtime period for the friend of the show, Josh Schertz and the
Not a lot
Billikens.
of offense. Diddles the Piddle says, well, Tim, what if it was intentionally a compliment? Is trophy wife considered a compliment?
It's a backhanded, like it carries a connotation to it.
That she's a gold digger, right?
Yes. Yeah. And the way it was
My
framed.
point that I'm trying to say is I didn't have shit. I mean, I didn't have shit anyway, and I'm coming off a divorce. I mean, I had less than shit.
Yeah.
That was a moment of Jackson's ADD.
I got
kicking
a
in.
text about work stuff.
Well, why don't we read it on the air?
Probably not.
Oh, really?
Well, it's not. It's just
Jackson's getting
uninteresting.
scolded. We'll find out. Tim, he's thinking about Matt Pressey. That's from the delectable
That's
Danny
his brother, who
Pintaro.
just turned 37, I think, yesterday. Shout out to Flip.
And he's coaching now.
With the Celtics.
Yeah.
He was on, I think the first year he was on Gates's bench, and then got hired with the Celtics. You'll see he's got a championship ring because of it.
Brian Burwell and Joe Strauss would call Charlie Marlowe Flip Pressey because he was famous for turning the ball over with some egregiously poor passes, and they would mock Charlie for oftentimes mishandling running point on their program. And I would like to say once again that had those two gentlemen lived, that program could have been an all-timer in St. Louis.
So that 1-2-3 combo is just outstanding.
Charlie running point,
Yeah.
and Strauss and Burwell and their chemistry, and also their kind of I don't give a fuck attitude. If the audience doesn't like what we have to say, fire your loads all over me, please.
Do it now.
Yeah, if you could.
Sure.
Let's see. Flip with my C's. That's from Aaron in St. Chuck. Is that a reference to...
No, she loves the Celtics.
Oh,
And Flip is...
I was thinking...
Right. But I understand why you're thinking that. And maybe she double entendre.
I love a good double entendre.
Best.
Let's see what I got here. Sorry, a little late to the party, but JM from Madison is real and excited to make it in. What does that mean? That's from Ty Menendez?
JM is the first... we started off the show talking about the fan page. JM was the person we let in. The woman.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
How the fuck's this guy know? Wow.
Possibly the...
She's legitimately good looking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're not as excited about her as I am. Well, let that be noted, Ty Menendez, if that's your wife or girlfriend. I'm real proud of you for standing up for tacos, Jackson. That's cousin Amy from D.C.
I think people are pretty hip on tacos. Soft tacos.
But that was ballsy of you to stand up for them.
Yeah, and, I don't do it for the credit or the accolade. I just do it because I, love the corn tortilla. Yeah, big taco guy.
I can't have taco night at my home anymore because in December when I went on the Vomit Comet, I had taco night.
Yeah. Could you do like chicken tacos or something? I don't know what meat you're
I don't know how to overcome it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had food poisoning.
And
but
that
I
was
imagine-
that was a long period of feeling like I was on the vomit. It wasn't just that evening. It went on for like a number of days to the point that I'm like, this isn't right. This is 4 days later.
Well, then maybe it wasn't food poisoning.
That famous Joey Vitale party that you and Doug and Martin weren't invited to?
Yeah, barred from.
I mean, that was like 4 days. Well, yeah, Taco Tuesday. The party was on Saturday.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to go. And I say to my wife, trophy wife, I say, I got to tell you, I feel like I'm going to throw up. I don't know what the fuck's going on. And it's Saturday. So, Taco Tuesday, I think my wife made it for the boys last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess, because we were in town. And I'm like, I can't fuck with it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, sister, I got to go downstairs and get away from this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That would stink because tacos truly.
I know.
I fucking love tacos.
God almighty, it was a disaster. Let's see. Aaron in St. Chuck with the nipple rings says the first show was a little rough because of the audio issues.
Yeah. That's anytime you're doing a remote broadcast, audio issues often rear their ugly head. But I think the rest of the week, by and large, we were fine. Shout out to Dodie.
Let's see. Who made the decision? What was the reason for TMA's absence from spring training? It was the Cardinals, right? I asked because it's astonishing they turned down the free pub. I'm so much more excited for the season after last week. That's from Colts beat writer Brian Henshin. Well, I love the question. I think it's a great question. That doesn't surprise me from a reporter the caliber of Brian Henshin, who I believe is going to be working at the Post-Dispatch soon. That's my
Agreed.
But we did it in 2020, and then you have COVID. And in 2021, they were still doing COVID protocols.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So 2021, it's out. 2022, we had just started here. And on top of it, my second son was born in late January, so I wouldn't have been going anyway.
Right.
And then 2023, it was actually discussed, but the Cardinals didn't really. I don't know. There was interest, so it wasn't a case of no, we can't have it. I don't know in 2024. I feel like. I don't know how far it got, but I know I was out of the country. I went on a trip with my wife and some friends for her birthday right at that time. And so it was never really seriously discussed. And so maybe that, if it was. So this year, so I do have to say, 21 it wasn't in play, 22 it wasn't in play. The only year where it really could have been in play was 23. And honestly, I looked at it when COVID happened. And I go, we will never be at the picnic table again, because I'm like, they're going to use that as an excuse, not just in St. Louis, but throughout sports, to reduce media accessibility, which makes all the sense in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I would be on board with it as a person in the media, I guess, by definition anyway. But I know teams would be like, oh, good, we can keep these people out of our, private work areas. So anyway, we had talked about it right when Martin joined the show, and I go, wonder if they'd be interested. Martin's like, I'll reach out. And so he reached out to Brian Bartow, who I think is actually a fan of this edition of TMA, and then talked with John Mozeliak and got the okay. And so, but then it kind of came, I don't know, in late December, early January. And so there's a process to getting everything down there, booking travel down there. If you don't book it way out, like I'm looking at spring break next year places now in that area, because it's, what it is.
Especially in March.
Oh, my
spring break
God.
time.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how it came to pass. I get what Brian's talking about. It's an absolutely fair and good question, but we really hadn't pursued it. 23 is the only year, and I don't really know what happened there, but 24, I knew we were going to, my wife and I and friends booked that trip out of the country for a birthday well in advance, so that wouldn't have been in play. And then this got turned around quickly, but I'd like to think because of how, I think the Cardinals, perhaps even more so than us, but I think for us as well, and certainly I know management here was thrilled with it. It went so well, I'd like to think that we will go back next year.
Hope so.
So there you go. Let's see what else I got here, Jackson. We got an active YouTube chat.
Good. People are at home, probably.
Yeah, well, that's why I said let's do one today. I thought I saw a camera or a question that I wanted to answer. Arnie. It's Arnie. That's cousin Arnie from D.C., not cousin Amy from D.C.
Okay.
The delectable Danny Pintaro says Dennis Gapes. I feel like that needs to be a text name. Dennis Gapes.
Pretty sure it is. Pretty sure someone has that.
Is that right?
I think so.
Just not an active texter?
Yeah, I swear. I absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you think he's gone, this is his third season and no one picked up on that beforehand? Come on now.
What's your guys' thoughts on the new Sports Hub channel? Love it. Think it's a great idea. I love that there are options for people in our industry. I think it's great also that I think it's important, and I'd like to think that those who observed 920, the only station that I really ever was in charge of, and even that was limited because I didn't own the license, that I would, you got to try to make money at all times, but in particular in between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. You got to do that. So you can't just be trotting people out there who don't either have a following that you can monetize or have sponsors already, so you know that you are going to bring money in. So there's that. But then you have those off-peak hours, whether they be early mornings, and that's where we had T.J. Weber, Weezer, and the Plowhawk.
One of my favorite shows ever.
Amen.
First
I
pitch.
was with somebody yesterday raving about T.J. Weber. Big fan of all three of those guys, obviously. And then at night, we would have people who we would use that as a time. I mean, yeah, we were brokering it, but that wasn't God, it was 1% of the monthly, projected revenue. It just was kind of I don't want to say it was nothing, but if we wouldn't have had people who wanted to broker the time, it really wouldn't have impacted the business that much. That's what I'm trying to say. And so I wanted to use those times, and we only licensed the owner of the station, Bert Kaufman, the late Bert Kaufman, licensed those hours to Inside STL for 5 days a week. So we did not have the weekends. Had we had the weekends, I would have utilized the weekends the same way to give people an opportunity if you kind of use them as a farm system.
Yeah.
So 101 ESPN is this behemoth.
Yeah.
They're not in a spot, and also they're carrying blues games and network programming, so they're not in a spot where they can do what we were able to do on a small station at 920, and with a podcast network, you can do that in a YouTube channel. So so anyway. I think it's a great idea. Big fan. Let's see. I've been misgendered. That's cousin Arnie from D.C., who is not happy that I called her cousin Amy from D.C., but it's him. It's cousin Arnie.
Yeah. Amy could be like a nickname for a guy like Amos. You call him Amy.
Okay. Jackson's covering my
I'm
tracks.
a big fan of gender-neutral names.
Just logging in, can someone give me show notes Martin style on what I've missed? Yeah, Jackson wants to do this for Alan Dadeville, one of our favorites.
I got you, Al. We kicked it off with some fan page hemming and hawing. Talked about spring training, some lovely restaurants. Some guy with his real name who owns a business took a shot.
I'd doff my cap. I'd like to have him on.
Yeah. Well, he's welcome.
I'd like to know the thought process.
Yeah, I would too.
And then now let me ask you this: had I called my wife a trophy wife, that's what Jackson was going before I interrupted. If I would have verbally dismembered him,
Yes, on Instagram.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, I wouldn't have used Hubbard's property to do that. Do I become the bad guy?
Yeah.
Do I really? Really?
Oh yeah. It's the famous no one notices the first shove, only the second. The
I'm
second
not
guy gets
sure
the tee.
about that.
I mean, I think you might have got probably a bunch of likes,
Oh, I love likes.
but no. Yeah, it's no win situation.
I joined one of the 4 country clubs, and hopefully it'll be 5 here soon, that I'm a member at. And one of them, my downstroke was with likes.
Yeah, well, there you go. So you could have bought yourself a couple of months of dues right there if you would have commented, but you didn't because No, it's the second shove thing. That's what I always go.
You
back
think so? Okay, all right. Well, let me present something from relative recent history in which everybody praised the guy who went after his wife. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Praise the guy who went after his wife.
This is within the last 2 weeks, too, sweet Prince.
The guy who went after.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jackson Burkett thinking. I bet somebody in the YouTube chat gets it. 51 motherfuckers are in there.
My first thought's like Ryan Reynolds, but I don't think that would be the case.
Yeah, I think they're kind of laying low minus the SNL 50th.
Yeah, and people up there had their thoughts.
People up there had their thoughts.
Not at SNL, but on the internet. Went after, God bless America. What can't you think
Super
of it?
Bowl halftime show.
Oh, Serena Williams?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess Stephen A. Smith, future president,
Oh, right. I saw this, yes.
and Jason Whitlock, one of your favorites. That's one of the guys you always talk about influences.
Grifter Emeritus,
He's Grifter Emeritus.
Sultan of Scam.
Is that true? Is that what he's known as?
That's what I call him.
Oh. Went after
Yes. Serena's husband.
Serena's husband for allowing her to go out there and dance during, and you call him K-Dot's performance
Yep.
of Not Like Us, and she was crip walking.
She was, yeah.
And that's something that you do during your SportsCenter updates.
Yeah.
When you do NBA scores of teams wearing blue.
Yeah, I see walk. Right, and then when red, obviously.
Yeah.
Change it up. Only use B's.
I like that. So then the founder of Reddit,
Her husband.
correct? Like, I mean, he just he fired loads all over Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock.
Yeah.
And everybody said, hurrah.
Right. But that's a guy, when you create something like Reddit and you have the money that I assume he has, you're kind of playing.
Now you're assuming that he has more than me.
Not
That's
by much.
interesting.
Not by much.
That's interesting, though.
Not by
That
much.
is interesting.
Right. Well, of course, you have like capital. And
Like capital.
I think when you're at that level, and plus people don't really know him, like they don't have like a relationship with him. They might use his app.
Oh, I didn't know people knew me.
Well, they have a parasocial relationship with you.
I knew that would lead to parasocial.
Yeah, well, that's the right.
Doug hates when you say parasocial.
Doug hates a lot of the things I do. It doesn't really shape my life. But yeah, people don't have a relationship with him. He's just a guy, and it was an innocent bystander and got hit. Now, clearly, you were also an innocent bystander and got hit. But again, parasocial relationship, baggage, this, that, and the other. He was kind of playing with house money.
Okay. Well, you think if I would have... That's interesting.
I mean, there's no real way to tell, because again, you would have gotten a lot of likes. So on the surface, it would have looked like a W.
But who would have
Someone would have come back at you.
Really?
But they probably would have switched the burner.
They would have gone to burner. And that's why I doffed my cap to the guy.
Right. If you would have finished without, but I'm doffing my cap for using your
But for the record, it's like the guy that I wanted to get on the show a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Said like this. I mean, he's clearly lives on that Reddit page. I can always tell when I'm like, oh, this guy. I just want to pull him out and go, hey, this isn't true. You're in
some life into
some
him.
kabuki theater that you think is real, and I had a voodoo doll of Iggy, and I'm like, please fire this motherfucker, please. Okay, 101 ESPN, good, great. I've been dreaming of it, good, But I'm like, hey, come on the show. I'm not coming on the show. No, but you're using your name, and I appreciate. Come on the show. Then he refused, but I doffed my cap again because he used the real name.
Yep. For sure.
Is that odd that you can say the most insulting things to me, but if you use your real name, I go, I respect it.
It's principled.
Is it principled?
Yeah.
What is it about? I think it's psychologically fucked up. But I have to tell you, that is how I feel. So I'm trying, you like fiction and I like nonfiction. I'm fascinated by the things in our brains that make us that way.
Right.
Why do somehow I go, you insulted me aggressively, and you even brought my family into it you kind of now are going against the La Crosse Nostra rules, but whatever. But you used your real name. And then I'm kind of like, I respect that.
Because of its boldness, because if
That's what it is.
If you're so used to burners ripping you, you get a little numb to it. When you see a real person, real name, it's like, oh my God, this is bold. And I have to respect boldness.
Stop saying parasocial, Jesus! That's from St. Charles.
It's the best way I can explain that situation.
I love Martan's show notes recaps. They crack me up for some reason. That's from Erin in St. Chuck. She's having a big QFTA. And what is today's episode known as?
Life is a trophy and Tim is the prize.
Life is a trophy, and Tim is the prize. I like that.
Yeah,
are guys like Charlie and Clabe still able to come on TMA after the St. Louis Sports House? Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Right. I don't think they have a non-compete.
I'd be shocked if, Claiborne, I don't know what his involvement is.
No, I don't know either.
So, we were, like I said at the start, that's actually Alan Dadeville's show notes. Did we talk about the dinner and the
yes.
we did.
2-pound carrot cake. Yep.
I don't know what his involvement is. But anyway, he kind of for 10 seconds talked about it, then went back to telling stories, which are just brilliant.
Yeah.
You have Claves in a good place, and he was in a good place.
Yeah, Clave, he was cracking me up when I would go in and out of the clubhouse. He's really funny, a really good dude.
Yeah.
Big fan.
But, he can tell stories like nobody, and he was in a good place.
Yeah. I feel like anytime he's in Jupiter, he's probably in a good place.
Yeah, he bought a house there in 2009.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
Sharp play.
I got to tell you, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but this is a safe space. Is that right?
Oh yeah, the safest.
I think I said this to you guys. I said me being down here, and I don't know if I'd be shamed for using the analogy that I used, but it isn't good for me to go down there. It isn't good for me to go down there with my wife because it's like, oh fuck, I'm not over this.
A little taste.
So when I went to the Preserve at Iron Horses, which was where we played on Thursday, and that's where I had played when we lived down there for 6 months. And my mom had just texted me out of nowhere, like, how's it going? And I said, it's great. I said, I got to be honest with you. I'm sitting in my car in the parking lot of Iron Horse, and I'm not doing well. And she goes, well, why aren't you doing well? I go, because those 6 months are the happiest I've ever been in my life. Same with my wife. And I shouldn't have come back here. You know, I'm not doing well. This place represents and here we are again, like at peak happiness. My wife jokes that like last week was like a dream. And I go, well, it's because you got to sleep in.
Yeah, it's true.
But, you know, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know what the fuck to do. You know? Mm-hmm. I don't know what to do. So anyway, we went and looked at houses on Friday before we drove down to the airport. Hey, listen, I have some friends who live in Lauderdale, which is Broward County, Miami, of course, and Miami-Dade County, and Jupiter's in Palm Beach County. And then that'll take you all the way up to, you're kind of getting into the central portion of the Atlantic coast side of it. I could never live, I mean, I guess I would, but Fort Lauderdale is have you ever done some Fort Lauderdale-ing?
Absolutely.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is.
It's
insane. Like you'd expect Miami people weaving in and out on 95 and the money and the shit that you see. But Lauderdale's fucking insane. And so flying out of Lauderdale to St. Louis is great because you can get non-stops.
Right.
But I don't know if I could. And we go to this place called Coconuts, another place I'd recommend. It's on the Intercoastal, and it's incredible. You doing okay? Something's going on that phone. I just want the audience to know something's going on that phone.
Anytime like a notification pops up, I look at it and it's bad, so I just turn my phone.
But is it bad stuff? If you need to tend to bit, I can sit here and talk to the wall.
No, it's not bad stuff.
Okay, fair enough. So anyway, I don't know.
South of Palm Beach County is it's crazy.
That's kind of.
I'm not into it.
I think it's kind of south of North Lake.
Yeah,
for me.
I'm not into that.
I'm getting very specific here. Nobody gives a fuck anyway. But God, I don't know. So then I had Adam's dad, Gordon Long, who we played with. Yeah, he'd drive her off the deck to like 10 feet.
Yeah, Dad, God.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I said, hey, why don't you go ahead and send us some listings?
I had Zillow.
Where were you
down there? Just I always find it. I'm curious by nature.
But I mean, they're not going to let me. It would essentially be, we're moving, and whenever you guys, I know, because I think it's a corporate policy with Hubbard. If you're going to be in a market, you got to do the show from the market. And now that we're on a real station too, it just isn't happening. So essentially, it would be, hey, I'm just done, and whatever. I'm just going to go. I'll do something else in South Florida. I'll work for however long you need me to work.
Yeah,
Sure. I'm not saying I'm doing this, but I'm just for the purpose of playing it out. It's like, oh fuck,
Yeah, you were really. I could tell you were in your element when we were out there.
What do you mean by that? Like I was in my head, or I was in a good place?
Like when we were out just in Florida, like you're in a good place. Well, that's like where you're most comfortable.
Yeah. So then I sit there and I go, God. And my wife might feel even more strongly about it. Then my 7-year-old's like, we're not moving. I go, well,
You're not really captaining.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have a seat on the board.
Right.
The 3-year-old doesn't have a clue, so I don't know. It's just a quality of life thing.
I get it, man.
Young Page Views. Remember Young Page Views? He was holding up was a ferret? I believe it was a ferret.
Chinchilla?
I traveled with that ferret. Chinchilla, that's what it was.
And his name was Raymond.
God, what was Young Page View's chinchilla's name?
We're about to get like 100 in the YouTube chat, but I want to think of it first. Damn it. Lester? No. It was a human name.
Boris?
Boris. There it's it.
MD 2020, you get the prize Boris. In the YouTube chat.
And the prize is Tim.
So he goes, that's right. That's correct. So he texted me. Well, first he DM'd me, and then I answered back, and I sent him a picture because we had gone to dinner, me and my wife, and him and his girlfriend at the time, at Restoration Rooftop. I don't know what year that was, 20 or 21. And I said, when he DM'd me, are you guys in town? And I said, does this look familiar? And he goes, motherfucker. And I said, where are you? And he told me where he was, because I'm like, are you in this area? And he wasn't, but he was certainly he was within shouting distance, so to speak. And he goes, let's get together. I go, man, we're flying back tomorrow. I go, well, we're not doing well here. We're doing the same thing that we've done 100 times when we've sat at this restaurant. Like, how can we make this work? Whatever. And and he goes, dude, you got to move. He goes, it's just a quality of life thing. He goes, people don't want to hear it in St. Louis because it's whatever, a thing.
Yeah.
But it's a quality of life thing.
Like
You're not there. Because I said to you, I think Gordon goes, sorry about the weather. And it was like 80 degrees and no humidity. Being facetious as a St. Louisan, you don't feel the way I feel.
No, I would never want to move to South Florida. I've lived there my freshman year of college. Liked it. Met a lot of awesome people. From November through March, probably the best weather I've ever lived. No, undoubtedly the best weather I've ever lived in. It might be the best weather in all of the great union of the United States of America. But no, it's just not for me.
Where would you move?
If I were to move anywhere, Northern California is where I want to go. Bay Area. It's kind of...
Where in the Bay Area?
Probably south, like Monterey-ish, Pebble Beach area.
Oh, look at you. Lottie fucking da.
If you
Guess
said
we got 9 figures net worth here.
If I could move anywhere, yeah, that's where I'd want to go. That's probably more my scene.
That's the place where I had a decision between Little Rock and Monterey, and the news director, I said, I got to get a car. And I was being paid so little that he goes, yeah, you probably ought to hold off on that thing.
You might live in that. Yeah. And then Rich Gould said,
Jackson's moving there.
Well, if I had all the money in the world, yeah, that's probably where I'd go.
Jackson wants to live by the gays. That's from the Wentzville Walking Stick.
Figured that was coming in.
I got to tell you.
Uh-huh.
And maybe this shows how much progress we have made. But that didn't even cross my mind. I thought it was going to be Jackson wants to live by the liberals.
That's probably coming next.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, but... Well, I don't know if
But my point being that it used to be like in the 1990s, if you said something about San Francisco, there'd be a gay reference.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
And then I saw it, and I'm like, no, I got to read this because I know it's going to get Jackson going.
Right. No, when I went there...
But I'm like, it's like a little time capsule back into the 80s. It was a treat. It was a delight. Like the Cardinals are wearing Navy caps.
Yeah, I was
90s Cardinals.
Late 2009, early 2010, I remember, because I had just seen Avatar. Me and my family, me and my mom and my dad went out to San Francisco for like a week and change. My mom was reviewing some hotel out there for the paper. It was outstanding. And I thought it was the coolest city in the world. It was the coolest city I'd ever been to.
I haven't been there in 15 years, and I did a lot of San Franciscoing in 2000 through 2010.
NFC East.
I was there when the NFC West. I was there the night the Rams drafted Sam Bradford, and it changed everything.
Well, because they got Sue. Yeah, I think I thought it was incredible. I thought the weather was incredible because it was like that low 60s, high 50s, and I was like, man, I could do this.
I'm going to the Facebook page. Wow, I didn't realize we'd have this many questions. How about that? What do we got here? What do we got? Boy, there's some good questions in here. I was just going to kind of check the box. All right, let me go through them. Tip of the cap to the TMA. This is what happens, Jackson, when you let the girl from Madison, Wisconsin in. She just starts asking questions.
Love it.
With sports gambling becoming legal, will Missouri residents be able to bet on Missouri teams? In Illinois, you're not allowed to bet on collegiate teams that are also in Illinois, like Illinois, Northwestern, SIU, etc. That's the question. I honestly don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer. That's a really good question, though, because that is true. You cannot bet on...
That is a big thing.
Yeah, if you can't bet on Mizzou.
So... Can you bet on the Cubs, though?
Yeah.
You can?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
just
then the Chiefs, Cardinals, Blues, Royals.
Yeah. It's just collegiate. Yeah, you cannot bet on U of I.
Okay, got it.
Any of the Illinois colleges in Illinois. I would imagine that's state by state, because I'd be shocked if all of the states have legalized gambling, you can't bet on their collegiate teams.
Why did Jackson choose to lay up from 180 out, 186 to be exact, with the match on the line on 17? Seems conservative. Hasn't he ever seen Tin Cup? Good. Go for it, Roy. That's from David Potts.
A couple of things I'm going to answer here. I was going for it.
I can confirm that.
I don't hit the ball that short. I had to go for it. I wish I would have laid up, but that's results-oriented, so I can't do that. And agree, Tin Cup good in the Mount Rushmore of golf movies for me.
But if you, for the record, we're on a par 5.
Yeah.
And, of course, I had outdriven you because I'm 22 years older than you.
Yes.
But you did hit a great drive. It wasn't a real long par 5, and the wind was up, as it always is on that side of the state at this time of the year. And I think it is throughout the year, actually. They always have the gentle Atlantic breeze. But this was more than a gentle breeze, and it was big time. We were downwind. So you had the wind with 186 yards. That's to the pin. And I would say you had to hit it 173 to 176 to carry water safely, because the water was in front, and there was a hill that would carry it back if you landed.
Right. So, you have to totally cover it. And there's a little room behind.
And you're not getting a pop. You're down 2 to me.
Yeah, I had to do it.
And you are getting a pop on 18. So if you don't, so you're sitting there with me being, I guess, 170 out.
Yeah.
You're going, he's gonna at worst par this, and I'm not getting a pop, and you can't tie. You have to win.
Yep.
So going for it, no brainer.
The only option. And just didn't hit it great. There's
now here's something that because that video gained way more popularity than I honestly thought.
It was about what I thought.
But I play with some guys who are a billion times better than I am, and they were breaking down.
I got breakdowns from everybody.
And there were a number of guys who since you played with me last year, who were like, "What's the deal with the stance?"
I was too far away from it. My ass was too far out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
I never think anything. I wonder if that contributes to you not hitting the ball right.
Could be, but I think there's a myriad of other factors. But that was out of that. I've watched the video one time, and then
you said you were never going to.
I watched it once, and honestly, I don't remember how I even saw the contact. I might have swiped before that, but yes, I did notice I was standing too far. But that's not how I usually. That was like a weird. I don't know why I was standing so far away from it. It's because I had been hitting that ball, that hybrid right all day. Like I had been fanning it a little right, and it couldn't be right on that hole. It couldn't be right. So I think I was doing some adjustments in my head and just stood up to the ball poorly. That's not how I usually swing.
Had you gotten on the green, then at that point, I probably have to go myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 170 out. Of course I am. That goes without saying. I guess this is like a 230-yard shot. And who knows?
Yeah.
Because you did win number 18.
I did, and I pressed.
With the pop. I think you pressed on 17, though. Did you press on 18?
I think I pressed on 18.
Because you would have lost 30. And so these are we're talking about high dollars here,
right.
Okay? I hope this doesn't come to unrelatable.
Right.
But then once you hit it in the water, part of me wants to go for it, but I have a fiduciary responsibility, and I grabbed wedge, and the ball's in the air, and Adam's dad, Gordon, goes, "What the fuck you doing?" And I go, "I hit a pitching wedge." And he goes, "That's not going to get there." I go, "No shit. It's going to be I think 15, 20 yards short." But with the wind, the thing was flying, and I'm like, "Oh my God. Don't tell me." I just grabbed it. I didn't even think anything. I'm just I'll hit it down there.
And then I hit a 56 degree on a layup for a par 5.
Hey. But that just shows if you would have hit that well, there's a good chance you go over the green.
Yeah,
I don't know how far you hit the thing.
Yeah.
I would have gone over with a full swing because I probably would. I was 170, so I probably would have hit.
I need a new hybrid is also what I need.
You need a new hybrid?
It's a really old. It's my dad's old hybrid, so it's like a regular flex.
For real. Now, this is, of course, 100% at your expense. Also great value for me because people hear how great of a golf broadcaster I am.
Right.
And that's just it's oh, my God, how many things can he do? And I don't know. Right. Everything I try, I'm great at, and it's so
Trophy
fucking
wife.
great. Yeah. Trophy wife, right. But it wasn't even on my mind that you would hit a shitty shot. I was just doing it because when, Iggy and Raby were playing, I would do, and that's all I was doing. Yeah. I'm what I was really doing was showing my wife, who I know was experiencing the same thing, they call it the golden hour, and I'm just this is
pink skies.
Give me a daisy chain on a golf course during the golden hour, and I think I Jason Biggs it with the great Shannon Elizabeth. Is that who it was with?
That sounds right.
Yeah, Nadia.
Yeah, I haven't seen them.
I mean, fuck, it's just the greatest. It's the greatest. And then, but it didn't even cross my mind that you would hit that shot.
Yeah, well, it went poorly. It went poorly for me, and I get that. And you got to wear it. But
How badly did you want to beat me on Thursday because of that video?
that had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah, you know the rule. It's not you versus me. It's
That's how I
us
feel.
versus the golf course.
I feel like I coined that phrase for you.
Yeah, definitely.
But that is how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I honestly, like, if you would have won $30 from me and I would have shot 70, which would have been really good for me that day, I would have been like, fuck, I'm on cloud 9.
Yeah.
And I guess, well, I mean, yeah, I won again on Thursday, but played like shit. And I got to tell you, I was irritated about it.
Yeah, that was a tough day for all of us.
I don't know what happened. It was so borderline easy and I was doing the same thing. I know, tough game. I understand, but at my level of play, being, an average golfer or whatever, it's a different thing when like Chris Nagel or Adam Long or Mike Wellington, who are all, plus handicaps, say it to us. That's a different deal than me fumble fucking around. But I was doing the same thing, and that's why I was hitting the ball as well. And I just kept coming off the ball, and so I was hitting, they weren't shanks, but they were like piss rocket, low but bad. Like I'm hitting a wedge, and I'm trying to hit the standard flight, and it's going off to the right and, 25 yards further than it's supposed to. I'm like, if Jackson presses me, this motherfucker's going to win a bunch being relative, but you're going to win and win comfortably. I got no faith. Then Jackson brought up this girl over one of my tee shots who wore a butt plug all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's like the widest fairway in golf next to Harbor Town's 18th. And I hit it off of someone's house so far off the right. And Jackson's like, I found the weakness. I need to talk about this girl who wears a butt plug all the time.
I will say... I still have shit in my throat from my scrap. If I were to look back like my 10 best rounds, I think maybe towards the back, like the 9 or 10, my first round of the year, for whatever reason, is like better than the next 4 after that by a pretty good margin. There's something
I got to tell you, that interests me. Does it interest anybody else? Probably not, but I got to tell you, I'm interested in that.
There's something about just going out there after not playing for so long where you're just like, it's good, great to be back out here. I'm just going to let it rip. And you have no thoughts in your head. And then, like, by, mid-June, you've played so many rounds and had so many practice sessions where you have so many swing thoughts or so many shots in your head from rounds previous where it can mess with your chemistry up there.
This is the time of year where I lose the most money because my index is carried over from last year. And I am a 2.5 at the moment, and I am absolutely... So the course I played at, Iron Horse, where you and Doug joined me on Thursday, but where I played in 2021 when we lived down there, the head pro, who's a great fucking guy, our audience would love him. He's like a good old boy from southern Tennessee, nearly made the tour. I said, hey, we're going to be coming down there. Texted him, like during a commercial break on TMA. And I wanted to get you and Doug and Martin over there to play, and I was hoping that they would be cool with that because that place has, just like any place down there, a surge in membership. And then he calls me while we're in the air, and I go, hey, I'm sorry, I'm on the air. What's up? And he goes, we just had a cancellation. Our member guest. Can you play tomorrow on the member guest? And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I would fucking love to, but I mean,
Gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Can't really teleport.
Yeah. But I'm like, oh my God. And then the guy who was also from St. Louis who wound up playing it, and they won their flight. And I would not have done that. And my reasoning is I would have had to have played as a 2.5, and I probably closer to like a 9 right now.
Be feeding seeds.
Holy shit. All right, what else do we have in here? Let's see what's going on the YouTube chat. Probably mad that we're talking about golf, I would assume. Did Jackson have to withdraw from their trust fund to pay up? What did you owe me, $20 on one day and 10 on the other?
Yeah, I had that on me, so we're all right.
Let's see. Jackson, is there any way you could flip your cam? It looks weird, you two looking in the same direction instead of each other. It's from Diddles the Piddles. Wow.
No, I can't. It's like literally nailed into the...
I can validate that, but I didn't even think about that. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah, we are both looking the same direction, but looking at each other.
So what if I went over here? Would it change things?
Yeah, but then I couldn't see you.
What are you trying to say?
Well, I like to,
Yeah, but I mean, what are you trying to say?
Oh, well, yeah.
Like if it were Martin, he could probably see me.
Just like the top of his head.
Fuck. It's exhausting, this height thing. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, we got Timmy recaps with a question.
Love it.
on the TMA fan page. I'm reading this. This is the danger of YouTube. I haven't read the whole thing. It's a long question, so I don't know where we're going, but I'm going to read it. I'm going to trust the process. I listened to the Jimmy Ballgame interview recently. It's always wild to hear insiders talk about problems inside an org. I heard the word org last week more times than I had ever heard it before, but I get clearly that's like a young player term. Let's say a team or org has made a perceived boneheaded decision or lost the fan base or alumni or whatever. It's always tough for me to imagine that the org hasn't gamed out the repercussions for whatever was the catalyst to those issues, whether those be optics, financial, or performance, usually revenue-based if it boiled down. In the case of the Cardinals and what Jim was talking about, where do you place blame if you were to trace the origin and assign it? Speaking broadly, it's easy to critique on the outside not knowing the full scope. Hell, probably applicable in terms of outside criticism of TMA without knowing conversations and deals made inside the room for whatever reasons. Thank you for making that observation. Very astute. That's why I'm a Timmy Recaps QFTA lemming. Nevertheless, where is blame assigned? Long-term versus short-term thinking, PR versus internal dynamics, market considerations, risk tolerance, ego versus mismanagement, lack of fan engagement, failure to adapt, cultural decay.
Damn it, I wish you wouldn't have read this. I would have stole this for a question for TMA.
No, we can still use it.
It's true.
Here is what I believe. It's almost like we've inadvertently conducted an investigation. I think I can, after talking with Mozeliak, talking with Marmol, I'm so glad that Mozeliak came back because I'm telling you, when we got done with that interview with Mozeliak, he was kind of doing the thing, oh, are we done here? Even though he was more than happy to be there.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah, and then it's a weird deal. This is the thing I talked about, super obscure, but I'm sure a handful of people who listen to this will remember. When I did the Artie Lang show, I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of that.
The seating arrangement.
The seating arrangement.
Yeah.
So it's tough to lay it out. But Artie's in the middle. And the 2 nights I did the show with him, Jim Norton was a guest one night, and then Dice was a guest the other night.
Wow.
Yeah, I look back on that, I go, that's just the fact that happened.
Was Dice in the denim vest?
Oh, yeah, the leather vest, yeah. Denim vest.
I
Is he a
think-
denim vest guy?
I think it's
I don't know.
leather jacket,
I got
denim
the pictures
vest.
on my phone of Artie, Artie's standing up and sleeping.
Yeah, it's a leather vest. I'm tripping. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, thank you. Now, if I start looking through pictures, I'm going to see a lot of cock pics. I don't want to do that. They'll distract me, and I'll start salivating. But I was so mad at myself, not Martin or Doug, because I'm like, I had questions I wanted to ask Mozeliak, and I didn't ask him. And it's not like I'm scared of the bullshit that the fucking hillbilly community comes up with. It's just, truthfully, Martin, and on that interview, was over to my far left. Doug is in between me and Martin, and Mozeliak's on my right, and so I'm facing him. And then one of the ways that if you watch on YouTube, you can see we'll communicate by raising our hands to know who's going to ask the next questions so we don't step on each other.
Right.
And I love doing interviews personally where you don't have a bunch of people. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who would be a good one for Martin to do, and me, I just go, hey, I don't need to be in it. It's not because I'm mad. It's just you're going to do a better job. You know more about it.
Know your role.
Yeah. The example I always use is the cat was not into college football. It wasn't like he was mad we were talking college football. He just would sit it out. Yeah. God bless. It makes all the sense in the world.
Northeast guy, yeah.
So anyway, I'm trying out of the corner of my eye, see wants to ask a question, trying not to step on it. You already got Mozeliak doing his thing where he's busting our balls and the whole thing. And I'm like, my God, I didn't ask about the Edmonds thing. Such an obvious thing to ask about. And that night, I remember saying it to my wife at Hog Snappers. That's where we went on Wednesday night. Places the tits, by the way. Crab cake all day, Jackson. And I'm like, yeah, it was good, and he was good. I'm like, I was shitty though. I did a shitty job, and I think the audience for the most part enjoyed it. But I'm like, I didn't do my job, and that always bothers me. Like I said, I shot 85. I got your money, but I shot 85.
Right.
And it hit it fucking terribly too. And I was starting. It was clearly a mechanical thing because I started off 1 under through 3 or something like that, and then it just went to shit. And then it bothers me. I'd rather shoot 70 and pay you. Again, this might sound fucking weird to people, but that's how my mind works. And I'm like, yeah, the audience is probably happy with it. I know Hubbard's thrilled with it. But I'm like, I did a shitty job. I didn't do my job. And it bothered me. So then on Friday when he came back, I'm like, hey, I got to ask you about the Edmonds interview. So here is my conclusion on what I think the number one reason for all of that going down was. Before I give it, let me see if you can think of what I'm thinking of.
I'm probably not the person that my mind was elsewhere. I was getting the videos.
You're on Flip Pressy again.
Currently, but at that time I was locked in on getting video and doing this, that, the other.
Okay.
So
my belief is, and it's not like anybody said, hey, here's what happened. That didn't happen at all. Whether it be me and Edmonds texting or me and I spoke with Mozeliak some away from the show. Still really don't know Ali Marmol, but came away from that conversation with such a different opinion, and I think a lot of people in the audience did. I think the number one thing that caused the chasm between the Cardinals and Jim Edmonds is Edmonds working with guys away from the ballpark. He has a cage at his house, and it's not just like a thing where you can play soft toss into a net. I mean, it's something that is, I've been in the Cardinals cage because of that fantasy camp, and I'm not talking about the one in Jupiter, I'm talking about the one at Busch Stadium. Any asshole can do it, so it's not like this is something that, oh, Tim, wow, another brag. Any asshole can do it. And I've been in Edmonds' house that is currently available, Jackson. If you have a loose 9 mil, you are thinking about it?
Well, yeah, and I saw the cage.
Is the cage in there?
Yeah.
The cage is better than the Cardinal cage.
Yeah,
and that's where I saw at the time, I think he was 3, Hayes, his son. And I came back upstairs, and I'm like, I don't know if you know it, but your son rakes. I go, it's nuts. And he's just down there by himself hitting the shit out of baseballs, and he's in a diaper, and he's 3. And he goes, yeah, my dad says it reminds him of me because all I wanted to do was hit baseballs. I don't fucking know. I'm like, well, I'm excited about it if you're not. But anyway, guys would go over to his house, and Jim would work with him. And so the one thing that Mozeliak did say specifically when he came back on Friday, and I asked him about it, is something along the lines of, if you're going to be coaching our players in this organization with all the time that guys commit, you either are all in or you're just not in, and we can't have people. We know these guys work with different guys, but we can't have people at the organization working with them here and there, and then it can go against what we're working with them on. Can't have it. And so my guess is that, and this is a guess, that pissed off the organization. Jim never told me this, but my guess is they said, hey, we can't have you. So then because one of the things in the interview, he said, they didn't want me in the clubhouse. So my guess is they thought he would start talking to guys about things that they'd be working with or things that he saw. I know he would see guys tipping pitches, shit that, because again, you might think whatever and all, and that's the thing, because it's Edmonds and you immediately get, oh, he's a womanizer and the slept with the nanny, which is total bullshit, but whatever, it's out there and you get, I saw the nanny at a part. The nanny wasn't with Edmonds, the nanny was with somebody else, and it's in Edmonds' house. I'm like, well, if they have a relationship, it's a really fucking quite a operation. But whatever, I say it, and it's like, oh, you're friends with them, you're retired. It's such bullshit. It drives me up the wall when people get into people's personal life. Whatever, fuck. Anyway, guy's a good guy. He's a unique cat, but he's a good fucking guy, and I'm just glad that he kind of defended himself, even though certainly it sounded like a guy that was, pissed off about a bunch of shit. I would have never said shit about behind the scenes on the broadcast personally, because you can't win that. But anyway, especially as a guy with 9-figure net worth. But he didn't ask my opinion. I think that's what pissed the Cardinals off. And then Jim's like, I'm a Cardinal Hall of Fame or whatever. Not that he said that, because he doesn't look at that shit. If anything, I'm more worked up about him not being in the Baseball Hall of Fame than he is. I still think he's going to wind up in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I wish I could bet that. But that's what I think. That pissed off the organization. Then he got pissed off that they didn't want him around. And then he's carrying some of that irritation onto the broadcast. And plus he's living down in Tennessee anyway. And then running parallel to that shit, he's got people who believe the shit. And then they're commenting. And then, so people would be ripping him for the broadcast. And then they'd bring up, oh,
personal life.
Yeah, and I that's what I think it was. Yeah. That's what I think it was. I think at the core it was he was working with guys at the cage at his house, and I'm sure some Cardinal fans are like, good, better him than some of these guys who've been hitting coaches. He knows what he's doing. But, I don't know what I could draw a parallel to in our little world, because our little world's so goofy and it's a little world. But, yeah, I mean, hey, you might not like it. It's one of those things that I was talking. I can't remember what it was. It's like like last week. You're catching hell for me and Martin and Doug are catching hell for the technical glitches on the show. It's like 100 years of broadcast experience. You would think these guys know. We're not fucking engineers. Be like you blaming Doty for me not asking Mazalok about Edmonds.
Damn it, Doty.
It's just like. Yeah. But here's the thing: people don't know our business, and so I can't get mad at it. If anything, I just got to be grateful that they care, even if their opinions are factually inaccurate. It's just kind of the fucking deal. What I need to do is go down to Columbia, Missouri, and say, hey, for like the two of you who are going to be doing this in 5 years, just know they're going to fucking hate you if you make a good amount of money, not because of your money, but because that means you've achieved some level of a form of prominence, and therefore with that comes hatred. It's just the deal. Prepare psychologically for it. Just to let you know, this is going to fucking suck, but you just got to be aware this is the way the world works in this business. Same thing for Edmonds. He's in broadcasting, so now he's not just, Cardinal Hall of Famer who shows up and waves. Now he's a broadcaster. The team sucks. He's reading texts because he's bored out of his mind by watching a shitty baseball team, and people bitch about it. And then one of the things is, what can we pick on him about? With me, it's like, back in the day, it's like, your dad got your job. I'm like, all right, sounds good. Now it's my wife, or your height. It's like, okay,
yes,
so
yes.
That's just the deal. But he's got fuck you money,
big time,
and so he can just be like, yeah, fuck this. But then he's thinking, I know better about this shit. I can see that this guy's tipping his pitches. You don't want me telling him that?
Yeah.
And okay, that sounds fucking weird. It wasn't that they didn't want to tell him. They didn't want the message coming from outside the room. That's what I think. At the core, that's what I think it was about. So when Jim came on and said what he said, I think he's just like, fuck it, this is the last time I'm talking about it, so I'm going after everybody. And it was like the baptism scene in The Godfather. But at the core, it was about the Cardinals not being happy that guys were working at his house. That's what I think. Not a soul has told me that, but I feel very confident in that opinion.
Hell yeah. It's a good theory.
All right, thank you. Let's see. So, that to answer Timmy Recap, I'm trying to go, where the hell was I? How did I get there?
Probably fan page?
Yeah, Timmy Recaps. Yeah, I'm reading his question. So that's what I think it was, Timmy Recaps. I think... And then it gets into, and I don't know, because then I feel like this is kind of like one of my issues. I guess, I don't know if I haven't said things that would help explain things that have gone on with TMA. So I'm kind of projecting with Mazalok, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so Mazalok is, persona non grata, and vast majority of Cardinal fans don't like him, can't wait for him to be done. But the one thing that I do admire is that when he could, and he wouldn't go on the record saying it, but there's this stuff
ways to do it.
Yeah, he'd leak it.
Yeah.
It'd be league sources say, Mike Schilt did this and that, and everybody go, but nobody has said that. Yeah. And it'd explain one of the biggest things that people give him shit about.
Maybe one phone call.
Right. Oh, my God. Yeah. And I got to tell you, it's like the guy who's calling my wife a trophy wife, but use it his real name. I'm like, I got to tell you, I respect that. Yeah. So I have to tell you, I respect it. I guess the thing that's not fair, because it's not apples to apples for me and the audience, is I am now aware of some of what went on there from, I guess, lack of better term, secondary sources, because I wasn't there. And I go, okay, shit, that helps explain it. Doesn't explain, the Dexter Fowler contract or the Wilson Contreras contract or whatever baseball moves you'd want to pick. But, at least, take your pick of whatever extensions. But hey, as far as the things that I think he really gets hammered on, and Schilt being one of the top ones, one of the things I oftentimes say, and this is not calling out anybody passive aggressively at all. This is a general practice. If somebody can't get hired, it's a tell. Right. And I just put a period at it. If this were a tweet, I would say full stop. Yeah. Full stop. You know where I was going with it? It's a tell.
Yeah. Clearly.
They weren't lining up in Major League Baseball for Mike Schilt.
They were not.
Right. So it's just like, even if I hadn't been told some of the things, and they didn't come from Mazalok or Ali Marmol, to be crystal clear, that was something that I recall saying. I'm like, he hadn't been hired.
Mm-hmm.
What does that say? Yeah. Or if you have somebody who bounces around, this is not going local, but here, okay, Keith Olbermann's tough to work with. It's like, okay, you might not like his politics. So you're coming up with ways to shit on him, kind of like the Edmonds and the nanny thing. I don't like Edmonds, so I'm going to say sleeping with the nanny. But then it's like, no, here's a list of the producers on the show that have been terminated and it's like there's like 20 producers in the last 3 years that have gone through that show. Well, I mean, that's a tell. Right. That will then back that up. Yeah. So that's a different thing as opposed to league sources or NBC sources. So anyway, it's not going to change people's minds. I'm not looking to change people's minds. It's just, and that was one of the questions I asked Mozeliak when he was sitting with us. Like, you could probably improve your reputation if you were to say these things or do what is, level 1 form. This isn't like Axe Capital forms of manipulating the public's mindset. This is just like you go to a beat writer and say, hey, here's what's really going on. And he just doesn't do that shit.
Yeah.
And so then you sit there and you go, how the fuck have the DeWitts put up with this for the last decade when the team's kind of been flopping around? They know they can count on them.
Right.
And
yeah, I think in his mind, it's like, it's what we talk about, like, that's what the money's for, is like you chop wood and carry water, and when shit goes great, you credit the team and all of the guys, and when shit goes wrong, you take the blame, and that's that. And that's why you get paid a handsome chunk of change, and you do what you do, and that's just kind of part of the gig. In his mind, that's what I imagine is how he rationalizes everything.
Yeah.
And I respect that.
So I mean, anyway, do what you want with that. Let me see if there's any YouTube chat thoughts on this while I'm going. Late to the show today, boys. Hey, boys, that's from Big Worm. There's clearly a few older guys down there at spring training working with the team. Was Edmonds' comments about that a bit of an overreaction? I have to tell you that's been the only ones that I can think of that I saw there that are not getting paid to be there as staff members or Ozzy, but I mean he is. He's in Isringhausen, he's on the staff.
Yeah.
And then Freeze was a paid instructor for spring training.
Right. And obviously the scale.
So Jim, you can't just like show up and put on a jersey unless you're going to be in.
Right.
So they're working on it. That's kind of the deal. So people see that and go, see, this proves Edmonds is lying. And I'm like, no, but Jason Isringhausen worked for the team.
Yeah.
So here's a little Mozeliak anecdote. When Edmonds was done doing the show that I did with him on 920, and that was really the reason why 920 went from almost being a disaster to successful, was that show because of the money that it brought in. Even if people might have been like, I don't like the show. Fine. What the show brings in the money is the show that wins. I'm like, fuck, I gotta find somebody to replace him. And Isringhausen was going to do it. He was going to do it. So much so that if I'm not mistaken, it had been written accurately about in the paper. And Isringhausen texts me the day that came out, and he goes, we got a problem. And I go, what's the problem? He goes, I work for the Cardinals, and Mozeliak's position, this is probably 2014, is if you're going to work for the organization, if it's going to be on the baseball side of the business, we only want me or Matheny, who was the manager at the time, speaking publicly.
Yeah.
And if it's the business side of the business, the president, Bill DeWitt III, speaks. So we can't have somebody who's inside the organization talking about the organization when they're an employee of the organization. And I'm like, hey, you think it'd help if I talk to him? He goes, you're welcome to talk to him. He goes, I don't know if anything's going to change. I mean, this was a motherfucker of a spot.
Yeah.
And I got on the phone with Mozeliak, and he said exactly what I said there. And I said, yeah. I said, I got to tell you, I get it. Don't like it, but I understand it, respect it. What am I going to do? So Izzy was out, and I think we ended that show. I don't know. I mean, it was
15
high past time. Yeah, because I stopped doing it. I don't know what the circumstances were, but anyway, I get it. So I think that goes back to the whole point that you can't just have a guy showing up and giving, like, I mean, if Ozzy were popping in,
right,
and like saying, hey, you're doing this with your swing.
Yeah, mixed messages.
Yeah, that's the thing. And again, I don't know this.
Right.
But clearly Jim was pissed. I'm sure the Cardinals were pissed. When Mozeliak and Marmol came on, they played it, they downplayed it. Same thing that they're doing with Arenado. It's not awkward, or it is, or I guess it could be, whatever it is. But
to expect anything different.
Yeah. Do you agree with me on the Contreras things being, when he said that, I'm not leaving here like a coward, that was about Arenado? That's where my bet is. Of course, I don't know.
The Contreras is a fiery guy, and I think sometimes he has moments where he's like gets kind of mini fired up. And I think that was one of them. I don't know specifically. If I had to allocate percentages, I would go 60% just kind of general statement, 40% talking about Arenado.
I'm going to go higher than that, as you know.
Yeah.
I'm probably going in the 85% he's talking about Arenado. So that's where I think it get weird.
Especially other sides of the infield.
I just am wondering if like those guys, like a guy who's fiery like Contreras.
Certainly.
And again, when I criticize the Contreras signing, it has nothing to do with Wilson Contreras, the guy. Right. It's such a I read that thing yesterday from Buster Olney, who said the Cardinal signing Wilson Contreras as catcher has been a disaster. But if you say that in St. Louis, it's like, what?
Yeah, everyone's like,
it's amazing. You can shit on John Mozeliak, Ali Marmol, and damn near anybody on the roster, but you can't shit on Wilson. It's a very strange thing.
Yeah, it is odd.
So my observations aren't about Wilson Contreras. The guy raked last year, but you signed him to the deal that you signed him to because you wanted to replace Yadier Molina, and that was fucked.
Yeah.
It was fucked the moment you did it, and it was fucked because it's not what you wanted to do, which is the exact same parallel as Dexter Fowler. You didn't want Dexter Fowler, and then you go, oh, shit, we don't have a plan B. Fuck, we'll throw a bunch of money at this guy. Well, he doesn't really want to live in St. Louis. Fuck, well, then we'll throw more money at this guy, and then now you're stuck with this shit. And I'm not saying Contreras didn't want to be in St. Louis. I don't have anything on that. I'm just like, he got overpaid, that's for sure, versus what the market was supposed to be. Anyway, neither here nor there. Contreras is a fiery guy, which is one of the reasons why I think fans like him and defend him.
Right.
And Arenado, I kind of get the sense that they probably aren't boys. No. That's just an observation of personalities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you have to be a wizard to go, oh, Tim McKernan and Frank Cusinano probably aren't going to hang out.
Right.
But, I mean, Frank worked with me, and we did a show together, and we worked recently, and, and he's on the Sound Story roster. But Frank has one way of living, and I have another way of living. You know what I mean? So you can be different, but not necessarily not get along. But then when I heard that, and then also the whole thing about we need to get leaders in here, and we need veterans, and it's like, well, you have Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado.
That part always confused me.
And there's a good chance both of them in the Hall of Fame.
Right. Especially when they were saying it.
You're right. What the
I was like...
But just because you're good, that doesn't mean you're a leader.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, I don't know. I just was like, oh, he's clearly taking a shot at Nolan Arenado. So that's where it could get awkward. You know, he doesn't see John Mozeliak on a daily basis.
Right. It's probably really awkward and doesn't get traded, and now
you're right.
You're in the same clubhouse, if that is the case.
Contreras has the passion, and he comes across as not putting up with bullshit, and we'll call it out. That's from MD 2020. I would agree with that, and I think that's why fans like him.
Yeah, agreed.
My perspective is the signing was just bizarro world as far as...
Now you're technically carrying 3 catchers.
For the life of me, I don't. But anytime I say that, it gets a lot of pushback. Let me see what else I got here. Any chance of the Cat, Charlie, Joey Vitale becoming regular fill-in hosts? They're all great on the show. Yeah, I would say all 3 would be in the mix. For full transparency, trying to have the Cat be like a Cardinal contributor this year. And I was hoping that he would come on last week while we were down there. Me and Martin both talked to him about it. And I think he's got a thing, and we've talked about this, and I don't think he'd mind, because he's like, and maybe it's my thing, and maybe it's me. That it's like, if he's not like on the roster, then he doesn't want to like just be a drop-by guy, because he's like, I was a part of this thing for so long, so he wants it to be official. And I get it. I respect that. Like, if I were in his spot, I'm not in his spot, so it's a different thing.
Yeah.
Like, I know the guy, he dropped by the show a billion times.
Yeah.
So I get it. I hope that at some point that he can be like a regular. Like, I guess, for lack of a term, kind of like what Vitale is for the Blues, So
they are
anyway.
for the Blues,
yes, exactly. So I was like, I said to Martin, I said, hey, because I asked him to come on. He goes, maybe I will. And when we were texting before we got down there. And he was super complimentary. I don't know if he would want me, but I will say this, because I said it on 101. He was super complimentary of you.
Yeah.
And the way you carry yourself, but also the work you do. And he's joking, but he's, doing, kind of busting balls on, take your pick of whomever, probably, previous producers. But then also really complimentary of the show, and it's great to see you. And I'm like, and I saw his son Tyler, who I hadn't seen in I don't know how long. And I'm like, I said, it gives me hope for my kids, because Tyler's like, he's not even 16 yet, and he's taller than me and the cat, who are both about the same size. And I go, this is great news that I know that this is possible,
right. Especially with your son liking hoops.
That's really true. Yeah, he said last night, he goes, I want to play in the NBA. I go, okay.
Hell yeah.
See, that there's another, you're reading fiction, I'm reading nonfiction. I heard that and I go, oh boy.
Yeah, I got a little belief.
And you're sitting there and you're
belief.
Right.
Ball in the dream. Just a kid.
You need, for real. I'm dead serious. I mean this, because I'll throw it around like a dumb shit. I would pay you if you wanted to work with him on basketball.
Happy to.
I think you mean that, though.
I would do it for nothing. Bad negotiation, but I would.
Well, then God bless. Well, then now I know you mean it, because you said you'd do it for nothing. And now I'm going to absolutely pay.
Yeah.
Because I got a few places where you can go. And in the golf thing, I don't want to talk about it, actually. I'm going to cut that off.
Okay.
But you probably know where I was going to go with it. But when it comes to the basketball thing, he loves it. And I don't know where the fuck this came from. And, then when they do the projections on height.
Oh, you never know.
You never know.
No.
But he's got a chance.
Sure.
He's got a chance. Sure. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah, and obviously you say you want to go play in the NBA, but playing...
But just play, I love it. My favorite sports memories, as much as we joke about the St. Gabriel thing, it truly is a culture there. As fucking strange as it is, because it's a parish grade school in South St. Louis.
Little
and
IU.
Truly, little IU. And truly, I think about it, I'm like, how many of these guys, we do win a bunch? Yeah. And I know Doug's joking around about it, but we win outside of that gym. And we'll win city championships, but then, nobody ever plays in high school. Now, there is an Orth who's on Iowa's football team, and he went there and he played basketball too. But, I mean, that's 1 in 75 years, Right. So I don't know what the hell the deal with it is. But but that was my favorite sports. Playing when you're 12, 13, 14 years old in front of a packed gymnasium, and we were pretty good. We weren't great, but we were in the final 8 in the city county championship, and that was the best. And so now I'm getting to go to these things, and I'm like, and he loves it. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, but what am I going to do? And either way, I'm his dad. And so I already know the program. If my dad would, if my dad was a good soccer player. He played at CBC. Whatever. He's good enough to play at CBC. Before CBC and SLU and Vianney and Chaminade and DeSmetal won the state all the time. But he's my dad. So you're going to blow him off.
Yeah, right.
Same. So he'll listen to you.
Teach him.
So I was legitimately I might ask Jackson about it, because he's I would love to go play basketball every day after school. And I'm like, well, then shit, then I gotta do that. I'm like, I'll ask Jackson, because Jackson might be interested, but I need to pick up a read on Jackson to see if because Jackson's going to tell me he's interested.
No, this is.
Yeah, but you would tell me, or I don't know, you'd do something. You wouldn't do what I do and just go, I'm not doing that. And I don't really fucking care if you think I'm an asshole. I'm not doing it. So when you said I would do it for free, I'm like, okay, all right.
Teach the youth, baby.
All right, God bless.
Favorite things, grow the game.
Why am I talking about this? Oh, the cat's son, Tyler, who plays baseball. Cat loves it. And, he's like, I don't know how tall he is. I don't know. He's taller than me. That doesn't do anything. He's taller than the cat.
Yeah, he was, 5'10".
But he's not 16 yet.
Right.
So he's like,
he's got some time.
That's great shit. And that's what I was texting with the cat about. So I said to Martin, I said, you ought to talk to him. It'd probably help the cause and the whole thing. But I just think he's got that. So I don't know. I would love it. I think it'd be good for the show, too. Right. Then taking the cat's history with the show out of it, I think, he'd fuck around, but he'd have, information. He's with the team, and if he holds rights, he holds rights. We'll make fun of him for holding rights. It's like Martin wearing the Cardinal hat, bust balls. That's what we do. All right, Barnhart Brawler. What the fuck is up with stadium food these days?
He's pissed?
I don't know. I'm just reading. Doggies. Oh, no, I read this before we started. Doggies just released some of the new vendors. I thought the food at the Doggies is like the greatest thing ever.
It is.
And offerings for this season, one of them is a goddamn bowl of soup. Who's going to a soccer game and ordering a bowl of soup to eat during the match? What happened to standard and affordable fare?
Stadium food and affordable, those are two words that never go together.
I guess, I don't know what let's see.
I'll have an oak
I understand where some people may... What'd you say there? Because I had my headphones.
I'll have an oak burger at the stadium.
And you say it's better than the one when you even go to the restaurant?
The burger isn't, the fries are.
Really?
There's some seasoning they put on the fries at
Seasonings is pleasing.
At City Park.
I wonder why they don't use it at
I don't know. I mean, maybe they do, just more sparingly, but they didn't even need ketchup.
Wow.
I would have felt like
statement. What a statement.
Ruined them with ketchup. That's how good it was.
Just looking for something to soak up the beers and hold them over until they leave and go get a real meal. Do we really need all these highbrow offering at sporting events? What happened to Glizzy's and Cracker Jack for working class meat and potato folks? I guess my question is, will we ever get back to a place where stadium food is affordable, or have we gone too far down the gourmet rabbit hole? Also, what is your favorite stadium treat and why is it helmet nachos? That's the Barnhart Brawler bringing heat.
I actually have a take on this.
Jackson Burkett has a take for you, Barnhart Brawler.
You see all the time, like these like Atlanta, I know does it, and a couple other places have done it, where they go viral because they're offering this cheap food, cheap beer. They're passing on that savings you're getting at the concession somewhere else, likely in the price of the ticket. I'm telling, like, these places aren't doing this as a altruistic method. Like, maybe it's to get more
It's good
people.
politics.
It's to get more people in the stadium because, like, but when you pay an extra $10, $15 on the ticket, you're not freaking out because it's a ticket to a sporting event. It's expensive.
Right.
Whereas a hot dog and fries is not an expensive thing. So when you pay $5 for that, in your mind, you're like, that's what I should be paying for a hot dog and fries. When you're paying $75 as opposed to $60 for a ticket, it's expensive. It's a sporting event ticket. That's my take.
Jackson, passionate about it.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I love Shake Shack. I believe that's an unpopular take that would be frowned on social media. Yeah, I thought so.
Shake Shack.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're both unpopular people.
I think loving In-N-Out's more unpopular. People love to...
Saying that in St. Louis?
Well, yeah, not...
Why? And go ahead. Say why you could. Go ahead.
No. Well, because we don't have it. We don't have it. I wish we did. God damn.
Oh, I thought you were going to take it deeper with the cut.
No.
Do you know where I'm going? No, you don't. That's interesting.
Well, talk about affordable In-N-Out.
But bad fries.
Oh, awful.
But anyway, I like Shake Shack.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm at Enterprise Center, I'm not like, oh, there's a Shake Shack, got to get it.
Not the same.
Fucking chance in hell.
Yeah, it's not the same.
But I also kind of have my little eating patterns that keep me being a cute little twink boy.
Yeah. A little nervous that you spilled part of that protein shake and it's going to throw off your
I agree with
balance.
you. Yeah, I need to alter that in my Fitness Pal. Last night, how about this? My wife's like, what the fuck are you doing? We had you know what it was, but I did no need. It's not like something that anybody would even give a shit about, but it's private and it has to do with Sound Story.
Right.
We had a thing, went well, good situation, whatever. And then I was on the phone with a variety of people involved, and I'm just driving around. It hadn't started snowing yet, and then I drive by my house, and both of my kids are home, so I know I won't be able to keep the conversation going, but I want to keep the conversation going. I got another call I got to make. And so I'm like, I'm just going to keep driving. I find myself driving to like my neighborhood where I grew up, and I'm like, fuck, I'm going to go to LeGrand's.
Hell yeah. Bring home some Sammys.
I did.
Nice.
What do you think I got?
Legend Club.
You're damn right I did.
Yeah.
And then, because I'm on a high, because things had gone well, I'm like, well, there's donut driving.
Oh.
Now, I'm not really a donut guy.
A little six-pack?
And I'm like, I'll go in here, support the family business.
Hell yeah. So good.
And so I get donuts, and I'm like, I'll be dad bringing home donuts at 5 o'clock on a fucking Tuesday.
Cork came out of North.
And I walk in, and my wife's like, weren't you in, and I was in a much further different part of the region, Chesterfield, I don't think I can, and she goes, and you drove to LeGrand's and Donut Drive? And I was on the phone, and I wasn't getting off the phone anytime soon. I'm like, fuck it, and I figured the boys would like these things.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing with these donuts, and this isn't donut driving because my brother, he doesn't give a shit, and I don't give a shit. If anything, I don't want anybody to know he owns it. So it's not like I'm like weaving a live read and get a kickback. I don't fucking care. I just never eat it.
Right.
It's just not.
It's tough to be like,
But then when you get them and they're in the house,
you're going to eat them.
so I get done having my Legrand's, not necessarily a healthy dish, but still, hey, I'm in a good place. Celebratory mode, as I said to my wife, celebratory mode here. Delicious treat. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take a look at. I got a variety because I don't eat them, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
And then I start picking off of one of these old fashions, not the apple fritter, which they're famous for, the cinnamon twist, which is kind of my go-to once a decade. And the next thing I know, I've eaten a whole fucking.
That's what you in your mind.
Like, this is crack rock.
I'll pick like a quarter, and then that 1 quarter turns to 2 quarter, and by the time you know, it's like
I've eaten a whole damn thing.
Can't let it go bad. On the Legend Club, could use some roughage. I love the Legend Club. It's my favorite sandwich in St. Louis.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the one I go back to the most.
Good.
Could use some roughage, some lettuce. It just eviscerates my stomach because it's just meat, cheese, and sauce. It could use a little bit.
That's
of
right up my alley.
I love it too. Something in there to get some fibrous material because it ruins my stomach. But I love it so much.
Is that right? Really?
Oh, yeah. Private Citizen Pete knows. He'll text in.
He knows about your bowels?
No, he knows that the Legend Club needs roughage.
Oh, really?
So
is that right?
Thought we share. Even though we both, I think it's probably his favorite sandwich. He loves Blue City Deli too.
Hey, is there any news on Mom's Deli since we were out of town?
No.
Really?
No, not that I can think of.
I just figured we were kind of detached from the world, and there has to be. I drove by it on my way to Legrand's and Donut Drive.
Huge line on that, like Monday or Tuesday after that thing came out. That article came out. So good on them.
I don't see any news.
Yeah, maybe I assume they're still looking for a place. I hope they'd stay in the South City, St. Louis Hills area.
I would just assume they will.
Yeah, I like.
Wow.
A lot.
Anybody know anything in the YouTube chat? I know there's only 51 people in there, but those readers are sexy, Tim. Thank you. That's from Too Fat to Kayak. I mistakenly wore them. My wife always likes to get pictures of us. Why? I don't know. Because I'm in it. Honestly, that's what I'm thinking. Like, why don't you just...
It's enough.
Or why don't we get like a stand-in so we won't have the comments?
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams. And I brought, just so that I was wearing them on our way out to RH Rooftop, or whatever the hell the thing's called. Restoration Rooftop, yeah. Because I knew it was dark in there, and that's when I can't see a damn thing. So now we get the bill, and I just go, just tell me what it is. Yeah. She could have an inside job with the, the staff. Yeah, exactly right. So I'm like, I'll wear them this time. And so then we're in the elevator where we were staying, and I got them on, and she goes, look at this fucking picture. And I go, oh yeah, what was I doing with and then I had them like down at the end of my nose like I'm Ben Franklin.
You're a librarian.
I do have to tell you, like, if you would have told me even 5 years ago, but certainly 10 years ago, that I'd just be like, I don't really fucking care.
Yeah.
Because when we were at dinner, me, Claiborne, Katie Wu, and my wife, I think Claiborne was going, he goes, man, I think Doug's has something with his hair. I go, I can tell you he has. He's done live reads for. Yeah. I go, absolutely has. I go, and as a matter of fact, they're talking to me about doing it. He goes, man, don't fuck with that. And I go, that's how I kind of feel. And then my wife, she's like, I've never been with him when he's had hair.
Right. It'd be weird, kind of.
And I'm kind of like, I don't really care. Right. The only thing I think about is for sound story purposes. That's the only thing I think about.
Yeah.
But then it becomes a thing to insult people who get it done. Although I don't feel like Doug gets insulted.
No.
But do people like Doug? People don't like me.
There you go.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But Bill DeWitt III, that strikes me as very obvious. I don't think he's talked about it, but fucking,
Wake up pretty early to sneak one past me.
So it's like, all right, but now people shit on him for doing it.
It's odd.
But he's Bill DeWitt III, so you got to shit on him.
In 5 years, I don't think that'll be the case. I don't think people will be shitting on people getting.
Yeah, I just don't think it's a.
No, I think also a totally shaved head is a more distinguished professional look than having the Larry David kind of side stuff going on.
I don't.
So I think for sound,
I just think
you're fine.
Yeah.
I think you're totally fine.
So that's the only reason why I would do it, and I don't know, it's a procedure, and
it's real. That's real. And plus, you throw the readers on, it doesn't matter what the time
is. That right? The readers save the day.
Right in the baby blues.
Carpe Donnelly says, I'm a little behind, but could the Schilt not finding a job thing be the industry looking for folks like Marmol, and then after making the mistake, looking to find more old school options? I get that, and I respect that. I would tell you, I don't think so.
I tend to agree. Yeah, I think there.
But but again, I have to say also, Jackson also is operating more from a place of having some insight that hasn't been shared with the public, and so that's not fair. And I hate doing the "I know something you don't know" thing. That's fucking awful, and that's why if I weren't doing this on YouTube, I probably wouldn't have said that.
Right.
But anyway, that's my theory, and I could be off the mark on it. Let's see. Need Mom's Deli to open up shop here in Wentzville. That's from MD 2020. F Wentzville. Mom belongs in South City, and I live 30 minutes away. That's from Allie Dub. That wasn't very kind. That's from MD 2020. They're going back and forth. Does your son know he's white? Is that in reference to my son wanting to play in the NBA? Is that
Jesus. Jesus. We gotta be better. Three-time MVP Nikola Jokic.
Well, I actually share Diddles the Piddles thoughts, number one, and number two, also the height situation.
Probably would be a bigger deterrent.
Because, I mean, even if he hits the ceiling and is 6'2", I mean, God bless.
Yeah.
But hey, I don't know. What are you, 6 foot, 6'1"?
6'1".
No.
A jumper's a jumper. If you can shoot the rock, it doesn't matter. That's all I'll say.
When I shoot that shot, man,
that should wet like I'm Book.
Yeah.
Wet like I'm Lizzie. Shout out to Lizzie Cambridge.
Thank you. I'm sorry, MD 2020. I live in Jefferson County, so that should make you feel better. Big Worm. Number 1, Legends Club. Number 2, The Pete, Vitali's Deli. Number 3, Spicy Daggett Joyas.
Spicy Daggett's too spicy for me.
I haven't had it.
Jardinera. It's a ton of Jardinera.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
It's like the spicy peppers. If you ever get
peppers.
Yeah, if you ever get an Italian beef sandwich from like anywhere in Chicago, like they cover in that Jardinera stuff, which also has like cauliflower and carrots in it, but also very spicy peppers. Too hot for me. And too spicy food.
I like spicy shit.
I like a little. Not too much. It then ruins the experience.
Try to do my Mount Rushmore sandwiches, which I know will automatically be shit on.
Oh yeah, you're fucked here.
Legend, Legrand's, Mississippi Nights Club, Gramophone, Vino, Blue City Deli, and then it's tough. And if you don't have it ready to go, now I'm just exposed.
So fucked. The tapping is really.
I know that helps though. Oh, Nana Special, Adriana's. There it is, and that actually is the official list.
I'm with you. Legend Club and Nana's. I like both of those. I'll go the veal parm at Grassi's. I don't care. I know it's not in the city. I know it's in Frontenac. It's great.
Were all my places in the city?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where I grew up.
I get it. And then I will go. Play that most people don't know, and now that I don't live there anymore, I feel more comfortable saying it. The sandwiches at Volpe, which is obviously the sausage place, are so fucking
Is that
good.
right?
So
I drove by it a
good.
few weeks ago, and I was like, I wonder if they got good stuff there. I didn't know that.
Their sandwiches are super fresh ingredients, so good. Huge fan.
Let's see. Only About Moms. I know to stand down otherwise. That's from Allie Dub. Jonathan Sutter. Guys, if you had to put your 2025 salary on the line, do you say Arenado is here on opening day or not?
I'll say yes.
I would. The honest answer, my thought process, because I actually think through this, I'm like, well, I would never bet it. There are better spots, for lack of a better term, that I would make plays on. And by the way, one of them is the Cardinal over win total. I'm kind of
with. I was thinking about that
in part because the number's so damn low.
Yeah,
and I'm there on the White Sox win total too. But see, when I do these things, it's like I was trying to explain my thing about buying stock in St. Louis. People are like, what the fuck? You think St. Louis is going to surge? I'm like, no, it's the price point. The price point is low. That's why I would do it. The Cardinal number, if the Cardinal number was 84.5, I would go, I'm not touching that. But it's 76.5. I'm kind of like, Jesus. I think I'd. Well, I mean, I know. Like, if I had to put my salary on something, Arenado being here on opening day or the Cardinals over under win total, I would go Cardinals over of all of the bets. Arenado being here, not being here, and then the Cardinal win total over under. That's where I would go. The one that I really like is the White Sox at 52.5. And I think you can get it 51.5 too. Yeah, and I realize people go, I fucking suck. And I go, I understand that. Right. But that's not what we're here to do today. But we're here to look at math.
Right. And Vegas is betting on you saying, oh, they suck.
Right.
So you take
and I also, even though I do think this would be in the square category, I'm on my high school bookies website.
I don't like.
See,
I don't
I
want
owe
to
the
put
guy
a few.
$431. That's not good. That means I probably have a bunch of messages.
Your ass is gonna soak grass.
No.
I almost don't want to put it
Yeah,
down.
$431 to this guy might be.
Right.
This
I don't want to
fucking
like bet a
situation.
future play like that, like a long. I mean, that's a long future with my similar high school bookie type thing. Because
Oh,
like,
you got
what
one
if the
too?
bookie isn't around by the time that it's time to collect? You know,
I actually was thinking that specifically.
like what if we put a
with
lot of
this.
money on it?
100%.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree with you more. The Dodgers at 103.5. I have to tell you, I would bet that, and I realize it is square as fuck to take the over.
Couple bad weeks and you're gonna be sweating.
It's just like ship it. But the high school bookie, of course, has it at minus 130. It's just so.
A lot of juice.
That's why I need this shit in St. Louis. I mean, I lose on every. Obviously, I'm down 431, and didn't even realize. But on college football, I'm profitable.
Yeah.
I had a guy DM me today, and I'm like, wow, that's bold because it's not like somebody I know. Like if I had like a $100,000 fund to manage on college football, we would profit. I'm telling you, I feel so confident in that.
Yeah. Want me to link you up with Bear Down Cuz?
No,
You
I'm
two
good.
together?
On
All right.
college football, I am good. On anything else, I wouldn't fuck with me on anything
He's
else.
an NFL guy.
But on college football, I'm just like I'm just confident I would deliver a return. You know, I really do.
I think you should. The stance you should take is I deserve your money.
I deserve your money. But I'm like, yeah, let me.
Yeah, no, I'd rather.
I really do because I think there's some guys who do something like that.
I guess, is that like a
Like
syndicate?
a fund, yeah, like a syndicate.
Yeah.
But here's the deal with this syndicate, just to let the record show, there's one chairman.
Yeah, it's not. This is a one-way conversation.
I have zero interest on the fact that you like Tennessee this week against Mercer. That's great. Then you ought to bet it.
Right, Heupel.
I don't. This is the way that this is going to work. If you're interested, that's fine. You can own X percent. If you're not interested in the terms, then please don't participate. That's our operating agreement. It's very simple. It's actually one paragraph.
What would be worse than getting it before the picks are made is like during like the second half, some game that's clearly not going to win. Like sick pick on Ole Miss, And
I don't need that personality trait in it either. But again, if somebody's going to be, we'll make the minimum investment on this $5,000. That type of person usually doesn't have that personality trait. It's usually the guy that wants to show you he had a $10 3-game parlay that he won $40 on and posted on social media, and everybody goes, all right, thanks. That's not what we're doing here. Okay, Jackson?
Oh, no.
So I need $5,000. That's the floor if you want to get in, and we're going to be on a heater, and we're going to deliver. I mean, the fund's going to be at $165,000 by the end of the college football playoff.
Just let me know the
what you
picks,
want.
I'll ride.
Do it what you want.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're
I
out.
love college.
Sounds like you're out. Chicken parm at Grassi's is wonderful. That's from Craig.
The veal parm guy, but yes, same idea. It's delicious. And you get the salad too. I'm thinking through the lens of also eating the salad with the sandwich, so that might not be fair, but that's what I'm thinking. And I didn't get to have Grassi's yesterday and wanted it, and so I feel like I have blue balls in that department.
Yeah, I just was like, I'm going to go to fucking LeGrand's, and I'm going to go to Donut Drive-In.
I haven't had LeGrand's in so long because I don't live on that area anymore, and it is really good.
Yeah, I'm just.
I gotta go there.
Here's what I find at this time of year, which is dangerous because I'm not burning nearly as many calories, especially with this winter in St. Louis, which has been as bad as I can remember in recent years. I'm sure there's one, but because we basically had permafrost / tundra for all of January. That's the reason.
Into now.
That the way that I get my dopamine is by going, ooh, I'm going to get myself a treat.
Yeah.
And so I get myself a treat 5 out of 7 nights. That's aggressive.
Yeah, but you
it's
have
a spend, and it's also, I'm not getting, but I also don't eat
you have a very light lunch.
jack shit until then. I'm on right now like 600 calories.
Right. As long as you do it like in the 5:30, 6:30
I
region,
go early. Yeah.
then you're fine.
Let's see. I want to make sure that thread. Since I'm on the fan page, I just saw somebody talk about MAGAs.
Oh, nice.
So I guess we're going to be getting notifications.
Is that JM?
It is not JM.
Right.
This is a person who's I think been on there for a while. Okay. That means and now this person's talking about Safe Charles. I guess he's ready. I guess he's ready for a day. The thread that I'm going for. What in the fuck is this? Which one of you went to Daytona? And it's a picture of a guy getting a selfie, but then behind him there is a gentleman with a camo hat on backwards, who I would think is in his mid-60s, on his knees, sucking on a foot. I mean, I'm operating on the premise that it's a lady's, but I can't speak to it.
This is on the TMA fan page?
Yes.
I was on Facebook for 2 minutes and my app time limit turned on. Oh, God. Yeah, that's a foot.
Let's see what we got.
I am with you. I assume that's a lady's foot, but can't be for sure. Yeah, everything in this picture seems like wouldn't be my scene. Look at that belt. Jesus.
Let's see what else I got. I can't find the thread. Oh, here it is. I want to try to answer. There's another question about your golf shot.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, that picture of you, that's an Iron Horse.
Yeah. I look heavy in this picture. That's just because I'm wearing a big shirt.
You haven't put on weight, have you?
No, still $1.80.
I'm at $1.57 even after eating a Legend and donuts last night.
It's got to be feeling good, though.
That's what I always weigh. I'm in the 150, the low. After the vomit comment, I got down to 147. Holy fuck!
Piss and vinegar.
But I mean, maybe that's the floor, and the ceiling's like $1.62. But if I weighed myself for real and I was at like 163, I go, okay, we're cutting back around here.
Right to Orange Theory, you go.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Because Derek, he stole Butch Patrick Werewolf's
Next thing you know, you're going to be relegated to that basement. Still paying for Legrand's and donut driving, but getting to eat.
And I hear my kids calling Derek Dad. That's what happened to him?
That's going to be tough.
Barnard Brawler's back. I, too, am a season ticket holder. My go-to is the taco tent outside the north and west entrance. I know this is an old man yells at cloud take, but I really do wish there were more accessible options. I'm sort of a cheapskate, and if I start taking kids to games, that can get out of hand real quick. I grew up going to ambush games at the Keel, and Grandpa would tell me to shove a bag of Twizzlers in my coat to smuggle them in. It's a different world these days.
You can still bring food into Busch Stadium.
I think he's talking about the Doggies Park.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Fair. But I like how they use local vendors.
Yeah, I love that.
I think it's really cool. And I think if you're going to go, it's a special occasion, so you spend a little bit more money. But
I have got to get to a game. I have not been to a game yet.
It is very fun.
And I want to take my
boys?
My 7-year-old. I don't know about the 3-year-old.
Fair.
He's in Banty rooster mode.
But you can bring food into Busch Stadium. Like if you don't like you can pack your own sandwiches and bring it in. They have no problem with that. I don't think a lot of people know that. So, but if you are going to eat there, and I can't believe I'm giving this away, pastrami dog. There's a kosher deli stand at Busch Stadium. Pastrami dog. Thank me later.
Jackson with an official recommendation. There it is. All right, I'm going to browse in the YouTube chat one more time. I'm a bad boy and testing things is in there. Hi, naughty boys. You especially, Berkey. Real Madrid takes an early 1-0 lead.
Wonder Boy Mbappe.
Yeah. How about the Richie Incognito Bullygate getting walked back? That's a crazy. Has it gotten walked back?
I have no idea.
I love when I see things that become accepted truths have to get walked back. The issue is, this is a Churchill quote, and I can't. It's something about a lie makes its way halfway around the world before the truth has the opportunity to get up and put its pants on.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard that. I'm not being LeBron here and saying it's also my favorite quote, but yes.
Oh, is that LeBron's favorite quote?
That's a big
I didn't know
Twitter
this.
meme.
I only saw this on Billions recently, some in Billions mode.
There's this Jude Bellingham, who's a soccer player. I don't know if it's actually Jude Bellingham. I can't remember who it is now. Either way, it's pointless. Says something like, my favorite saying a coach says is this, and LeBron, this was on The Shop, his show on HBO.
Yeah.
And LeBron was like, oh yeah, that's my favorite quote too. And people always say that LeBron's like lying about shit.
Oh, is that right?
And so that's like it's like a meme. Shit? Like there's like a bunch of pictures of like him reading just the first page of a book, and like in his locker, and everyone thinks like he actually doesn't read the books. But
that kind of move when people were doing Zoom hits and they would
have all
style their guy.
Yeah, and like that, and there's some other stuff too. But they're always saying like LeBron, they call him LeCap, meaning liar.
Yeah.
And so that's a big meme.
I didn't know this was going on.
NBA Twitter, you got to be real sick in the head.
So I think I don't know who said it in this season of Billions that I'm currently on, season 4, Jackson. And I thought, ooh, I like that.
By the way, have you watched White Lotus season 3?
Have not.
Damn it.
I have not. I bet we might watch it. I've been so fucking tired.
Right.
I've gone to bed and I've fallen asleep per the Whoop pre 9:30 each of the last 2 nights.
Wow. That's all it's these.
Yeah. I'm telling you, yesterday, I would like yesterday to be a holiday named after me. I don't know if that's arrogant or not, but I must have gotten up at 1 in the morning and didn't fall back asleep before both TMA and the thing that I was in celebratory mode on for Sound Story. And I'm lying there. I'm going, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I got this thing, and honestly, Sound Story is, my baby. I guess TMA is too. But you got you and Martin and Doug. If I'm off, which has happened plenty of times, somebody's going to be able to, carry the ball. Sound Story thing was a different situation.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't have an option. We got to go. This is just the way it is. And so last night, I'm like, boy, if I wake up in the middle of the night again, I'm jolly well fucked. But I woke up. You like them?
I like that a lot.
But I think I got up today like at 5:23 and had a good night. But my Whoop was poor recovery. And I'll tell you why. Because I had a legend. Because I had a fucking donut.
Yeah. There he is, Kenny Corky again. My one request.
I am taking requests.
For the duration of White Lotus, which is 8 episodes, longest season
God,
yet.
I hope there's lesbianism.
Chances of.
That's so great.
I would say it's chances of. And some other stuff.
That was one of the strangest moments in our relationship when you're like, wait till the end. And then I'm like, I got to stick around to the end. I'm probably high on my fucking sleep pills. And I told my wife, I said, we got to stick around to the end. But I didn't tell her what I thought it was. Because again, I'm trying to groom her with lesbianism.
Right, slowly but surely.
Absolutely.
17 years later.
Absolutely. And so when the scene is a guy getting plowed, she goes, "Oh, really?
Nephew.
That's what you wanted to stick around for." I go, "That fucking Jackson.
Yeah. No,
You bait and swede me."
This is actually why this is our differences between why you like nonfiction and I like fiction. I was telling you because I was so critical and such a pivotal moment for the story, for the plot of the show, and your mind immediately went
it was lesbianism.
Right.
I don't even know who I would have thought would have been the lesbianism.
Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge.
Claus knew. I would not.
Aubrey Plaza and Megan Fahy. I think we'd all like to stick around for that. Right.
And I'm like, this is going to be great. God, I'm in such a good place. And then the fantasy is my wife goes, fuck, this is hot. And then the next thing I know, I have my less popular.
No. Instead, your world got turned upside down.
Some guy getting plowed by his uncle or something, whatever the hell it was.
Nephew plowing the uncle wasn't actually the case. Not true incest. This isn't Game of Thrones. However, my request is for the duration of White Lotus, 8 episodes, we each, by the time the podcast comes around, have watched the most latest episode, and for 5 to 10 minutes, with a heavy spoiler warning, do a brief breakdown of what we think.
I'm sure.
I love White Lotus so much.
What is it? Is it on 8 o'clock Central?
8 o'clock Central.
That's probably good enough for me to watch. I mean,
yeah, it goes up immediately on stream.
This 3-year-old, I'm telling you, I don't know what the deal. Like my wife said last night, she goes, "He's the last one to bed, and he's the first one to get up," and it's the truth.
Yeah.
And so this morning, like I got to probably leave a little earlier than normal because of the snow. I don't know. And then I hear him pop down like at 6:15, and I'm like, I want to hang out.
Right.
He's a delight. Mm-hmm. But I got to go.
Yeah. Got to bring home the bacon.
That's what I say. He goes, "You got to do your show?" And I said, "Yeah." "Why?" "So you can eat." That's it. Yeah. That's all we're doing here. We're feeding people.
Not grasping the concept.
He's not. He needs to get better. Ryan Crawford's in the YouTube chat. He says, "I'm new to the show. LOL. Hearing Jackson curse. Bless his heart." Are you cursing? I don't even know.
It's like, it might come out. I'm not over here like a sailor. I'm not trying to be. But I also don't care. Swear word's a word.
It was alarming for people when they first heard me do my first podcast and I would use profanity. So I get it.
Yeah, probably because for 12 to 15 years they had heard nothing but.
Right.
And of course, you're so prim and proper.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is, if you hear me talking like this, you know I'm in my place.
Right.
When I have to go to like events, but I usually don't do, I'm not talking about even him seeing them. And then I'm in a spot where it's like, I can't talk like this. Right. And then I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. This is not my scene. Mark Milton invited me to something a couple weeks ago. He said, "Hey, I know this probably isn't something you want to do." And I go, "Oh, yeah." But I also think, and I thought we were going to be in Jupiter at that time. But I appreciate that now. I think it was because the Business Journal article in which, for whatever reason, of all the things, that guy did a great job interviewing. I can't say enough things about that interview. That, as I've said a couple times, that would be a great podcast. He did a hell of a job, the St. Louis Business Journal. And I want to make sure I get his name right if I'm going to talk about him.
George Glass.
George Glass.
Is that a real person? Is that just a name you like?
So you don't know the George Glass story?
No.
Did you ever watch the Brady Bunch? I mean, it super predates you.
No.
I'm looking up this. I know I'm not going to. Let's see. This is what I do all day. Type my name in search engines and see what people are saying.
Yep.
God, I love that.
Refresh.
James Drew, did a hell of a job, for real. I mean, it was outstanding. But anyway, I said in that thing, I hate small talk. Hate small talk. But if you give me a conversation where I can be honest and the other person can be honest, I don't give a fuck if we disagree. Or some of my favorite conversations where somebody disagrees with me. I love that shit. That's my high. That and the pursuit of lesbianism. Right. And the golden hour. And ideally, I'm having a great conversation with a couple of people with a daisy chain in front of us on like the 17th hole, because that way it's not in front of the clubhouse, during the golden hour in South Florida.
That's it.
That's your idea. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah.
My absolute favorite thing is when I'm out there. I haven't really been out there with the 3-year-old yet, but with my older son. But I think at this point we're going to wait till he's 9 until he can see his first daisy chain.
I think that's right.
You think that's right? I know you don't have kids, so maybe that might come off.
But I'm thinking to myself at 9 years old, it's like you definitely want to see a daisy chain before like your first horror movie.
See,
ideally.
Right, that's the right thing.
Scary.
By the way, he started Space Jam last night.
Hell yeah!
I've never seen Space Jam.
Really?
Yeah.
Wasn't that? I
think it would have been like 17.
Yeah, it would have been.
What are we doing here?
But that means Jordan in the movie.
No, I get it. And he goes, "Oh, my favorite things: Michael Jordan and basketball and cartoons."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What the hell are you watching over there?" And then I start hearing R. Kelly, and I go, "What the hell are you watching over there?"
Yeah, it's tough. Fly Like an Eagle, though. That's Seal, right? That's the big song in that one. Or is that R. Kelly?
I haven't watched it, bro.
Fair enough. Fly Like an Eagle. That movie's
Anyway, back to George Glass. Marcia, the older sister in the Brady Bunch, had the younger sister, Jan. Marcia, I guess, was supposed to be attractive. I don't know. Kind of predates me, too.
Right.
I guess if I were lining up Eve Plum and Maureen McCormick, I'd take Maureen McCormick. I assume she'd take me, too. I don't know.
Of course, you're the prize.
Thank you. And Jan Brady, played by the great Eve Plum, was jealous that Marcia, played by the great Maureen McCormick, had a boyfriend. Everything's always Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. Well, I have a boyfriend, too. Oh, Jan, I didn't know you did. What's his name? What class is he in school? That's how Marcia said school.
Yeah.
School. He's in my class. What's his name? And then they cut to her, and she has a panicked look on her face. Right. And she looks around the room, and then they zoom in with a quick zoom. And it's a Glass. She says, Glass. George Glass.
Got it.
Wonderful.
Got it. That's like
the fact that people got me to reenact that scene.
Well, that's like the third.
I bet there's so many guys beating off right now. There's a lot of Tachi Magic Wands out, and I know there are.
Yeah, buzz. That's like 3 consecutive podcasts where you've reenacted.
That's my bailiwick.
But they're only women speaking. Like they're like it was.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah, it was the grandma in Parenthood, and now this. And there's something else. And I'm a big fan. You're like a one-man theater show.
New to the show, LOL. I already read that. Regardless, I love you guys, man. You guys put on a great show. We're great down there in spring training, asking the hard questions to Mo on the spot. That's Ryan Crawford. God bless.
Right.
That was an excellent interview, Tim. Cue the gong, but for real. Allie Dubb saying that. And she's a real girl. I know her. This show always fits my level of ADHD. Thanks, boys. What interview? Is she talking about the Mozeliak interview? Allie, are you talking about the Mozeliak?
I would assume. Mo or Allie. Or Brianna Coppage and Megan Gaither from a year ago.
Great interview as well. That was a great interview as well. No. Yeah, I honestly felt like I was bad in the Mozeliak interview.
None of the above. Business Journal.
Oh, the Business Journal. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you just saw the print version. Unless they published I doubt they did, like the whole version, because there were things I got to keep that off the record. That's a legal situation. But he did a great job. So what I'm saying is, for the audience's purpose, and I'd say this to Jim Drew at the Business Journal, like, if you want, you have my permission, minus the stuff where I say I can't say that for legal reasons. And that was only like one thing. Run it. It'd be good for the audience, the Reddit people. I guess they probably still wouldn't believe me.
Sure.
But in your opinion, by the way, on the Reddit, you've told me is it's 8 people, but there's 100 burner accounts?
By and large, yeah.
And there's just a bunch of people with different usernames?
I think.
Is that right?
It's been a minute since I've been in there, but from...
Even poor Chairman Kurt had to bail. Chairman Kurt was our last remaining social media person.
And I still use Reddit, but like I have to like close my eyes when I open the homepage because it might pop up, and then I just get to the search bar and I'm like, oh, thank God, trade rumor stuff.
NBA trade rumors, I assume.
Goes without saying.
All right, Jackson, we've gone 2 hours and 20 minutes, haven't we? About. And I got to get my wife texted me.
2:19.
Ooh, Poland called me. I'm a big Poland guy. I always enjoy talking to him.
Is he going to be stopping by Friday?
Matt Seebeck. This is like the Inside STL ownership group. Matt Seebeck is coming in to talk doggies on Friday. And I was going to ask Poling if he wanted to come in.
Hell yeah. That'd be great.
I think he's the one. He's in corporate sponsorships. I think he played a role in the Energizer sponsorship. Guy's outstanding.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying it because I'm friends with him, because I'm sure I have some friends. I'm like, oh, you're probably not really good at your job. But Poling's outstanding. Poling, I hired him. He worked for this outfit for a year or two. And he's used to selling whatever the deal was with Energizer and, the doggies. Mm-hmm. You can imagine what that is. It's probably out there.
Right.
And then I got him selling remotes at Friendly's for like $700.
It's all relative. Either way, if he's going to want in on college football bets, the minimum is $5,000.
Jack Horace says, dang, I just joined. You can go back and watch it. I go back and watch podcasts.
Yeah. 2 hours.
I got to tell you.
Yeah.
What the fuck was I listening to? Oh, Frangesi? Former mob guy.
Michael Francesi.
Yeah,
who was mentioned in Goodfellas in the famous roll call.
And what was his? Did he have a... He wasn't get the papers.
My favorite one is when the guy goes, "What's up, guy?"
I like that. That's like Doug greeting a texter.
Yeah, what's up, guy? No, he says like I gotta go or something. He like gets up and leaves.
Yeah. It was an outstanding interview. And the best was he's a huge Trump guy and Bill Maher isn't, even though liberals now hate Bill Maher. And he was just I don't know how to describe. Just a major recommendation. I couldn't wait to get back in the car because my commutes were so brief that it took me 5 trips to listen to the whole thing. And then I'm doing some work around the house or having a CBC kid that works for me do it. And I'd be listening and I'd be like, I can't get enough of this in the dismissive way that Bill Maher would talk to him about shit. But then that what's it again?
Michael Francesi.
Would respond. It was just outstanding. It was like they're totally disagreeing, but it wasn't like a heated thing.
Yeah.
But Bill Maher, he stood his ground. Francesi stood. It was. I loved it, and I'm telling you, I knew I'd like that because I like mafia shit.
No doubt.
Even though I'm a Mick, and obviously the tensions that are still going on. I mean, the Capulets and Montagues, as you said, with my family and Anna Marie's family, but also the gangs in New York, but. And then the Matt Gaetz one was the most eye-opening one of all time. And I know you just look at me so like...
I have so many... So leisure time is limited.
Don't worry. I'm not...
No, I know.
I'm not like, I'm not going to the pizza shop in D.C.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, some of I have to tell you. And I love the fact, which is why I try to get these motherfuckers who hate me on the show. Mm-hmm. But then they don't come on. I'd be willing to pay. I put money out. What did I do? Put $500 out?
Yeah.
Wasn't that what the last total?
No, I don't know if it was that high.
Really?
500? I remember maybe 200.
But the thing about, and then I'm inviting somebody in the building who's, this is different than like Matt Gaetz is at the very,
phoner.
Right. You can, so then, okay, maybe you've got a point on some of this stuff. But the problem is when I read these things, I'm like, well, that's not true. What you're writing isn't true. And then when I say it's not true, you get mad. I can't agree with something that I know is factually is not true. It did not happen.
Because then you comment on it and then it gives it merit. Do that.
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I know you won't listen to it just like you won't watch The Girl Next Door.
That's right. Well, I would be more open to the latter. I'd be much more. I've watched the first half.
Yeah, but that means you bailed.
I did.
Alicia Cuthbert didn't keep you around?
There was probably like a Tiger game that was starting or something. I had to imagine I would have I wouldn't have just dropped it for no reason.
Yeah, I'm irritated by that. But I'd be curious what you think. You don't have to listen to the Gates one. But
I listen to the franchisee one. I would.
Yeah.
I would.
Like the way that they go back and forth is so great because they absolutely disagree. It wasn't like, okay, I'll agree just because,
right.
You know,
this, that, or the other, yeah.
They're dug in, but they're disagreeing. And I'm just like, I love this dynamic, even though what, franchisee's saying in particular, I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
But whatever,
Yeah, sure.
So, and then, Bill Maher does his thing where the left hates me, and I get it. And then, the woke thing that I feel like that's like his Carlin's 7 dirty words, and he can't get off of it at this moment. But whatever. I think at his point, I think it actually, it's like I'm trying to, when Timmy Recaps asked me to analyze what happened with Edmonds and the Cardinals, and I theorize, I think Maher is so irritated by the tweets that he gets from the left or social media comments he gets from the left that it's bothered him so much that he just can't stop talking about it. I think that's what it's about.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they used to be like supportive, and now
yeah,
probably like the TMA listeners and me. Maybe I'm having my own psychoanalysis here.
Right, but you don't like program the show based around that.
I'll tell you something I saw, where Joe Patini was borrowing my car, and he saw.
Yeah.
And I would never.
Yeah, I'd speak.
But you were telling me that people on the Reddit think it's me or you that are in there.
If someone comes up defensive of the show, or even complimentary in any capacity, it is almost certainly met with like thinking it's someone on the show.
They can't really think it's me.
No, but
Okay.
I mean, this is the Reddit page. Logic doesn't really have a home there.
It's not that I'm like I want to win them over, because I can't win them over. I want to have it's like I don't know. I can't name the person's name, but I think they're QAnon. And I would love to have a conversation with them, not because I'm like, I just like I want to get in the I don't think franchisee's QAnon,
right?
But I want to. You see what I'm saying?
He's red-pilled, certainly.
He's what?
Red-pilled, certainly.
Yeah, I mean it was something that's what made it so great.
Right.
But Bill Maher didn't just sit there and listen.
Sure.
He's like, oh my God, this is so fucking ridiculous. But then Francesi didn't get mad. He goes, but Bill, don't you think, and it was good.
I like that.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it.
Like guys interrupting each other.
Yes,
screaming.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about it.
TikTok political.
It's my kind of thing. When I first started doing this podcast, and it was interviews, and now Ed Martin, one of the guys I got shit on for bringing in, who would drive me personally up the wall because I felt like he used his Christianity as a way to get elected. And I hate that shit. Hate that shit. And now it's like the fucking game. But back then I'm like, this guy's doing this, and now it's like that's what you do. But now he's like the he's got like a high position in the Trump administration. And he was just like a guy bouncing around in St. Louis doing shit for Phyllis Schlafly. Wow. And now he's like in D.C. I can't recall what is wrong. I'm reading this. Anyway, I got to go. It's been 2.5 hours, and the main thing is my wife's got to take one of the kids to the dentist appointment, so I got to be back for him. But otherwise, Jackson, I go 10 hours today.
Yeah, you got a good night's sleep. That's a bad recipe for me.
Dangerous. Yeah, time to go. Thank you to James Carlton. Thank you to Mark Hanna. Thank you to Design Air for sponsoring this thing. Thank you to the audience for being into it. Email me anytime, McKernan at InsideSTL.com. And if you're a Reddit person in that bubble, you're welcome to be a guest. I don't think we can have you in the building.
Phoner. Maybe
Jackson just text.
Yeah, maybe we can set up some sort of Zoom thing. But I FaceTimed, people want to get in the fan page, so we can get you on.
Yeah. You didn't even FaceTime the attractive girl from Madison.
Didn't get the option. No phone number listed.
But we got confirmed that she's real and attractive.
And that's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, time for us to go. This has been the Tim McKernan Show podcast. That's Jackson Burkett. I'm Tim McKernan. Bye.